Hello again, friends, and welcome to the Pipeline pregame show powered by eFuse. I'm your host, OG Pickle. What's up, guys? Good to see you for another week. I'm excited. I got the little mojo going on tonight. I had a little pre-drink, what do you call those little energy supplements? So I'm feeling extra good for you guys today as we come live to you in the arena for a very special event and two very different Collegiate League of Legends teams. One in Bethany Lutheran College and the other in Purdue University as they go head-to-head in this week's eFuse Collegiate Showmatch. One coming from the north in Mankato, Minnesota. That's fun to say. And the other hailing from West Lafayette, Indiana, separated by 8 hours and 34 minutes. I looked it up. That's the closest and shortest possible route for those of you interested at home. But they're very much closer and a much shorter distance tonight as they go head-to-head in the eFuse Arena Showmatch. I get the pleasure of working with two incredibly talented casters tonight, Jolly and Alk Battery. What's up? Before we get started, we had an incredible show last week. If you didn't tune in, go watch the VOD. It was awesome, featuring Collegiate Rocket League teams. Missouri S&T took on the University of South Florida and USF. Great time. Jolly, how'd they set the stage for this incredible eFuse Collegiate Show match tonight?
Oh, man. Every week, the stage is reset in just such an exceptional way. We have some incredible players coming in, some newer faces again with a lot of these, just these collegiate groups kind of revamping and reorganizing themselves as collegiate. The scene gets bigger and bigger. So I don't care if it's Rocket League that we encounter on eFuse. I don't care if it's League of Legends. Either way, it is, again, resetting the scene here for collegiate and showing off the best of the best. So I cannot wait for these two teams to face off here tonight.
I agree. I always love it. Love working with you too. I can't wait till we get to the interviews as well because we had a lot of fun behind the scenes. I had the opportunity to get to some predictions. You know, I always like to bait. Try to get people to give me a little insight. Again, we come a little short, though. Everyone's so reserved. It's like I set it up, and then just get there, and they're like, I don't know. Both teams are great. You guys will see. And tonight,
you'll get a knockdown, drag him out eventually, Pickle. Don't worry.
I'm going to get somebody fired up soon. I'm going to get somebody fired up, and they're going to give me what I want. But until then, we'll watch the interviews, and you guys decide if they're fired up enough. But on the Pipeline pregame show, we have all things League of Legends tonight. We're going to sit down with Lucas Fricky from Bethany Lutheran College. We also have player interviews with Bethany Lutheran's Wizardish. He's got a fun way. He came up with his name and then went over to Purdue and got flawed logic. But let's check in with Alk Battery. I know he's over here. He's looking dapper. The hair's on point. I like the little white button down there. You're looking dapper and fresh as I'm in this punk-looking jersey. But
I had to match Jolly. Jolly said she was going with white, so I had to
We got a black and white little like good versus evil thing going on. I kind of like it. But fill us in. What are your thoughts on these two teams?
Yeah, tonight we actually have a really interesting match that I think if you would have said this maybe a couple of months ago, I think people would have put a couple question marks on. But Bethany and Purdue, I think a lot of people that, you know, you look at the Bethany roster, a couple of switch ups. Solura is a new top laner that they're coming in with, is definitely playing a little bit of a different style, especially in solo queue. He's the Camille or kind of coin flip player, and Hollywood moving down to support role. So I wonder what exactly we'll see from these guys. And Hunter has been a long-standing member of the collegiate scene, just kind of been bouncing around a couple amateur teams as well, but always has a really interesting pool. Let's hope we get some new gaming tonight later on. But I'm excited to see what we see from Bethany because this year I think they've put in a lot of effort to try and, you know, stand out. They've made it to they didn't quite make it over to the Collegiate National Finals, but I'm excited to see what they do considering how well they did inside their own conference. And on the other side, we've got Purdue. We've got Purdue tonight who, I mean, these guys have been a long-standing member of Collegiate for such a long time. And with every new roster, I think they get a little bit closer. Now, last year, they weren't quite able to make it to the CLOL Nationals thanks to the COVID pandemic. But this year, they made it, and they're able to, speaking with Dreyer, their coach, they were super excited to make it there. They are looking forward to being a little bit of a dark horse. They're okay with playing from the underdog position. But between Clam and Holy Kerp, I'm excited to see these guys. I mean, Clam has been someone I've been hyping up, and a lot of people in amateur have been hyping up as will save NA from the jungle, and I'm looking forward to these two teams.
Love that. Will save NA from the jungle. And that's true, though. Going into this Bethany Lutheran team, I do have to say this is a team that went 6-0 in that early conference. They got knocked out. It was a 2-3 that they got knocked down in, so it did go to all 5 games. But they're kind of known as this team to sort of just mess around, if you will. So they're trying to kind of adjust and adapt a new sort of etiquette to the team and trying to say, no, we aren't just messing around. We're not just picking crazy compositions and then hoping to win, and we do end up winning. No, we are a very well-formed team. We know, I mean, I'm sure anybody who's, part of Twitter, Collegiate Esports is aware of Collimer and how he's jumped around and has been doing amazing things for this team in particular. So there's a lot of confidence going behind these players, even though they're kind of seen not like a meme team, but somewhat in the slightest a meme team, just because of how crazy they get with their compositions.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely well said. And you're going to see a bit of what you both said in the interviews with these players, because they did mention being a little memey. On the other side, they mentioned the dark horse in Purdue because they want to go out and prove something. They're not exactly a part of the collegiate space yet, but they want to show their school that they are a meaningful program and really out to prove something. So I think that dark horse monster you put on their AUK was really, really well said. And we'll also have predictions for how the matchup will play out. We have obviously taken Jolly and AUK's thoughts on the matchup, but the players seem to know best when it comes to how they'll fare in matchups like these. And for that reason, we sat down with Wizardish from Bethany to get his thoughts on the matchup, the season, and where they see Bethany's League of Legends programs in the near future. Let's take a look right meow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the eFuse Pipeline pregame show. I'm your host, OG Pickle. What's up? It's good to see you again for another week. This time, we're playing League of Legends, so thanks for tuning in. On those watching on the official eFuse Twitch channel, I'm sitting down with our friend Ryan Vreeland, who goes by Wizardish. He is a second year at Bethany Lutheran College studying computer science. What's up, dude? It's good to see you. How are you today?
Hey, man, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I get to sit here and interview you, get a little insight into the world of esports, and it's always fun. Let's start right off the bat. Can you give us some insight onto what the esports program's like over there? Can you describe the atmosphere for those that are in chat tonight?
Yeah, so here at Bethany, we're just a family, and we're, first and foremost, we're a family. A lot of the guys here knew each other even before they came to Bethany. And so that's really what we are, first and foremost, is a family and a great group of guys.
I love hearing that, man. The camaraderie is what it's all about. The college experience, both in competitive spirit, is important, but that other aspect that you're speaking on is so highly important. For those in chat that are interested in looking at colleges for esports, I think that's really important. I'm sure you get this often enough, but we have to ask, and I'd be remiss if I didn't. For those that in chat tonight are unaware, how'd you come up with the name? Where'd you get Wizardish?
So it's actually kind of a result of me not having a very good handle on English. When I was younger, I thought, I wish I had a word to describe someone that's kind of like a wizard, but not really. And so I was like, well, I'll just slap ISH onto the end of wizard and Wizardish, and there you have it. There's a word. But there is actually a word, and it's Wizardly, but I had no clue.
What defines your League of Legends team playstyle? Would you say you're offensive, defensive, more neutral? Can you give us a little insight into the team over at Bethany?
Obviously, we're here to win, and we take things seriously. But I would describe it as a circus, man. We just get in there, we brawl, we skirmish. Obviously, there's a time and place to kind of settle down and take things seriously. But at the end of the day, we're trying to have fun, because that's how you win. If you're passionate about the game and you're having fun, that's how you win.
I'm going to ask you the final question. You have a best-of-3 matchup against Purdue for this exhibition. Call your shot. What do you think the outcome's going to be?
2-0 for us.
Ooh! See, I like that confidence. That's a team that's not on their heels. They've got nothing to lose. They're going into it having fun, and they don't have to prove nothing to nobody. We appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking the time, Ryan. He goes by Wizardish. Appreciate you being here. We're looking forward to what you can do later tonight. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
It takes a lot of confidence to call the 2-0 shot out there. It also takes a lot of confidence to wear this Wizardish hat, and I was feeling it as I was feeling that interview. So hats off to you for making a 2-0 call. I respect that. These two teams haven't had a chance to play often, so we should get a good matchup tonight. You never know what's going to see. My co-hosts are laughing a little bit behind the scenes, but you gotta have
I didn't have a hat ready. I didn't have a hat ready.
Little wizard. I should have made the call. That's my fault.
I feel left out.
I should have made the call.
I thought
you got the great red hair. You gotta let that show. I
literally got a hat like that right up there. I could have grabbed it.
Next time.
I've got a mask behind me, man.
Next time. When we have a 2-0 shot from somebody who has a Wizardish in the title, we're going offline. I'm gonna plan that better. But I've got a feeling we're going to see a chess match tonight. You've got a team that's out there to have fun. You've got a team on the other side in Purdue that's out there to prove something. And nobody's really got anything to lose. And when you have nothing to lose on both sides, I think we're going to see a very good matchup on our hand. Wizard mentioned that the roster is like a family. I love hearing that personally, because I think that's part of the collegiate experience. And that's what it's all about. Now, Jolly, I'll flip it over to you as you've remained composed after I just threw on a sun hat, tried to play it off as wizard-ish. It wasn't really that wizard-esque, but I'd still like to hear your more. And it counts. It's the thought that counts. And I'd like your thoughts here. What do you think is needed to be made? What changes need to be there in order to stay competitive at such a high level?
I think that's kind of in a sense what I was touching on before, where they have this meme style about them just because of how they've played in the past, but they're buckling down now. This is their opportunity for this team to really come together and say, okay, we want to be a professional team that all of these groups are looking at. This is a scene where they've got 4 at-large bids for national championship, and they want to be able to get one. So this essentially is going to, like, moving forward, is going to be kind of a statement to them and to the committee itself that they deserve to be a part of those 4, and they want to be placed within a good seed among that.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. It's such a great story to see people like Wizardish. We'll put the hat on back as they focus on the family dynamic. It's also really cool to see that the esports has given a path for students to continue their education and continue competing like that. So I really like the storyline Jolly's laid down there for us. And Ryan wasn't the only one we sat down with. We were also able to sit down with Jacob Matthews, known as Flawed Logic. And there may be a little flawed logic in my thought of thinking that hat is wizardish. But we're going to head over and check out an interview from Purdue University. I'm excited to see as you guys take a look at Flawed Logic. Let's check it out right now. Show. I'm your host, OG Pickle. Great to see you guys again. Another week in the hot seat. Right now, we're sitting down with Jacob Matthews, who goes by Flawed Logic, a senior at Purdue studying cybersecurity. Let's start off right out the gates. Let's talk about Purdue University. You've been there for 4 years. You're obviously a senior.
Yes, sir.
Coming up on your final year at the university. What can you tell those in chat tonight that have no idea what Purdue's like? How would you describe Purdue's esports program? Can you tell us what the atmosphere is like as a whole?
That's a pretty interesting question because technically speaking, we don't really have an esports program. Our school does not officially recognize us. So it's literally just 5 guys and our coach. That's kind of the atmosphere, is like, we're all here because we want to win and we enjoy playing together.
Has it ever occurred to you that you might be laying the foundation for others behind you, that Purdue ultimately, I think it's safe to say, will probably jump in the game as the other Big Ten schools hop in?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question because I have been thinking about that. You know, if we do really well in the Collegiate LOL tournament, that could have a great impact in getting the esports program recognized. And I do think about that sometimes because clearly esports, especially in Collegiate, is not going to go away anytime soon. My jungler and my AD and my top laner, they're all very young and they're very good players. I think about the fact that, you know, what we do here, you know, if we do really, really well, can get them exposure and potentially, you know, they can make it far.
So you guys are currently living in a house together with your jungler and your ADs. What's it like being a senior who obviously probably, you know, you probably clean up a little bit more, you have a little bit more responsibility. What's it like living with your teammates in this house?
Yeah, living with 2 degenerate sophomore gamers is it's pretty interesting. In the past, not so much recently, I kind of cook for them because they literally will just eat Hot Pockets permanently if I don't do that. Yeah, there's some pretty interesting experiences living with your teammates for sure.
We're excited to watch you play later tonight. Thank you, Jacob, for taking the time to speak with us. We're going to send it back to the studio, but we appreciate you being here, man. A great interview from Flawed Logic. He's a leader both on the League of Legends matches, but then also in the kitchen as he's prevented his friends from eating only processed Hot Pockets for their entirety. And really just setting the team up for success, not only in the program perspective, but potentially gastrointestinally. And so that's really important as any leader that goes. But in all seriousness, he was a very sharp-minded kid. He's awesome. I see the chats turning up for him. You love to see that in chat. So you can tell he's got a very good public-facing persona. And part of his legacy is we obviously have to shorten these interviews, but we talked at length that got kind of cut out, was that he is really building a legacy in the foundation. Like, he may be the senior and he may not be a part of that esports program if Purdue adopts it, which I'm assuming in due time, I think we all agree will happen. But he's setting a foundation for his team. You know, he might be some of the earliest pioneers of it and really just helping set that foundation, whether they get a big win or whether he sets the stage to show that the responsibility and the sincerity they're taking with the team as compared to traditional sports, you know, it's only a matter of time until they acknowledge that. And I think I'm excited to see what he does in the future. I'm excited to see what Purdue does in the future as far as an administration. As a senior, he's going to look after his teammates and be that leader on the team. We're getting closer to see how this matchup will unfold. You've seen both interviews, very, very good ones. We've had a 2-0 shot. We've had a more reserved shot. You didn't get to see that one, but he called 2-1. And said it could go multitude of different ways as he was being very diplomatic as a senior leader. We like that. But I couldn't be more excited. I hope you're excited in the chat. Before we get into tonight's matchup with the eFuse coaches poll on hold, let's hear from our casters. Jolly, let me hear your thoughts. I want to hear who you think's going to win. And if you don't say 2-0, I might cry.
I gotta say 2-0.
Let's go!
Let's go!
Get some hype.
I gotta pull here. Colomer would be upset with me if if I said anything other. But I also am pretty convinced here that Bethany Lutheran is gonna take this one home pretty quickly.
Woo!
Yeah, I gotta agree with Jolly. It's looking like a fast 2-0. I mean, let's be real. I want to give as much props over to Purdue because, again, I love their coaching staff. Jerry is a huge proponent when it comes to anything amateur, which I'm a huge fan of. However, when you look at how Bethany like to play and the wrenches they like to throw in the works of many other teams, there's a reason why they went 6-0 in their group. So yes. I'm looking forward to see how they do it. And if we do see a win, I think it is just going to be too much of a cloud fiesta going on that Bethany are going to lose sight of the game and Purdue might pick up a win.
I like it. Give me a little bit more of that. Everything's a little too diplomatic for my liking in these pregame shows. I like definitiveness. Give me definity. Let me know someone's going to dominate. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited in chat. I see Adrian calling me out for being too excited. Adrian, you're not excited enough.
Yeah, too excited?
Too excited?
Excuse me?
Too excited?
Hold on.
I'm trying to build a storyline here, trying to amplify and accelerate the collegiate esports space with my homies Jolly and Al. Come on, Adrian. But very good points from my friends nonetheless, and don't go anywhere because when we come back, we're going to go straight into an interview with Lucas Fricky, the coach of Bethany Lutheran, and we'll see you then. Be right back. Bye, Adrian. Get in. Well, we've heard from the students in tonight's matchup, but we're also lucky enough to be joined by Lucas Fricky, the coach of Bethany Lutheran. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Oh, doing wonderful. How are you guys?
I like the excitement already. Let's go!
Yeah, we're hyped. We're hyped.
Woo!
Not hype enough, I hear.
You know what? Adrian we had some people talking smack in chat. I like the energy Coach is bringing to this. I need that in my life. It's cathartic. It's very nice, but it's great to hear. We just heard from the players, namely Purdue players and Bethany Lutheran players, and they cast their votes. They basically said, Bethany said they're going to win 2-0. Purdue said a little more mild and reserved. They said if they win, it's going to be 2-1. Let's go to you. What do you think as coach, as you look at both of these teams, if you had some pre-work done, what do you think? Do you agree with them? What are your thoughts on the final outcome for this matchup?
Oh, well, it's going to be a really, really good show match. You know, Purdue's really solid, but I got to take Bethany in the 2-0, you know. Not 15-minute wins, but 25 probably. That's what I'll say.
Bring it home.
That's fair.
I love it. I got to ask, actually, I got to inquire, you know, kind of what we've been talking about here, and I'm sure what Bethany Lutheran has felt in the scene a little bit, is you guys have been kind of acknowledged almost as this meme team, not because you're not performing incredibly well. I mean, you guys went 6-0 in your conference, obviously, and got knocked out 2-3, so it was a really tough matchup, but how are you guys moving forward now? I know you're kind of trying to recalibrate and get yourselves to really be recognized by these conferences, but how is the atmosphere there with that meme team style, and what do you take from that?
Well, if by meme team you mean we have a lot of fun, we do have a ton of fun. It's something where we started off, you know, the first 4 weeks of CLL are usually pretty, you know, like you play against, you know, plat teams and gold teams, which is fine. But it's like, when do we turn that off and actually start taking it seriously? And that's why we're so excited about the showmanship match tonight, is it's a chance for us to try to be more serious and turn the memes down. We still do have a ton of fun. You know, if Purdue don't take it personally, you know, if we emote and stuff, it's just the way the guys are. And yeah.
It's no BM though. It's no BM. It's
no BM. No BM.
So no teleport smites this week. Is that what I'm hearing? None not like in the first 4 weeks of CLO? No, we're not doing that anymore.
No, we will not see a teleport smite today unless it's an accident. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
But no, we love being the meme team. We love embracing it, and it's just super fun. So.
Good.
I wanted to ask about the program because I mean, this year you guys built out like a really nice, robust system. You guys obviously have Doa there on the broadcast. You also have brought in like Chilling Walk and all these people. And even, you know, speaking about the memes, that incredible couple of pieces of content we've already seen, like with the roster introductions and then Valentine's. I really love that Valentine's load. It was so funny. How was it looking coming into this year, like building out the department, and what your goals were setting for that?
Yeah, so this is our fourth semester esports, which is super exciting. Our college has decided to make, you know, a capital investment into the school, which is, you know, it's a huge blessing. We're really excited about it. I think our success, you know, on the field or on the Rift has a lot to do with the confidence that administration has in us. We're really excited next year to build out. We're going to be doubling the size of our facility, adding competitive Overwatch and Rocket League. So look out for us in those games. Yeah.
Welcome to eFuse. There you go.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. And I got to ask real quick, my last little question for you here. Yeah, you guys have a great outline in terms of like resources for different coaches. And I know that you guys have hired a lot of people, you know, that are kind of working remotely. How has that been working with you? How's the relationship between the coaches and the students across the board?
Yeah, it's great. We err more on the side of, you know, in traditional sports, there's like that barrier of huge respect and like the super intense, you know, we're more along the sides of, you know, mutual respect and getting along better that way. I personally think that's super important in esports. It's a lot more mental than it is physical. So having a good relationship and, you know, players being comfortable to go to coaches and stuff like that and talk. So being remote has been a huge challenge actually, because, you know, our first year with the personal relationships is what Bethany's all about. Esports and in the classroom and online, it's not the same, but we're doing our best. So.
Awesome.
What would you say to people that are looking to go to Bethany? Just following up on that. So there are people in chat. There are obviously people that are going to watch the VOD, people that are going to see this. What would you say is like one of the benefits of going to Bethany? You talked about the personal relationships, but if you were to sell, obviously you're the esports coach. You obviously run the program, but like, what would you say to somebody who's interested in looking at esports at colleges? What sets Bethany apart?
Yeah. So, as a director of Bethany, I think what separates us apart is, you call it a meme team, but I call it fun, competitive environment.
Yeah.
That's truly it. I mean, we don't deal with toxicity with our players. We don't deal with, we don't have many issues at all when it comes to people being mean to each other and stuff like that. We all get along really well. We do a lot of extracurriculars together, and what I mean by that is we go out to eat a lot. We order food. We had a cookout last fall when we could. We're road tripping out to Missouri for a Maryville tournament in July. The guys come to my house a lot, eat food, play games. My wife is super competitive, so her and Galaxy is his name now. They really go at it in Blokus. So, we're just vibing all the time and having a great time.
I love that. That's super important as far as the identity of who you are as a college. And I'll also ask you obviously got the funding. All right. So you're becoming more and more legitimate as an infrastructure for the team. I think it's awesome. But as the season continues and you start to build a true program that's going to take that money and obviously turn it into a bigger, more robust team, more robust facilities, and more resources for your players, what other teams besides Purdue, obviously tonight, that's right in front of you, who are you looking forward to try to knock off the ledge to try to get more legitimate, not only in your own sense, but in the league environment?
Oh man, that's a great question for Collimer. Well, last semester we beat Maryville in a one-off.
There you go.
Let's go.
Well, that was hype, super hype.
Yes.
This year we're just hoping to get a bid to nationals, and we'll beat whoever we play. Once money's on the line, that's when the caffeine intake gets higher and the fingers get a little faster, a little more intense. So I definitely, I think we can beat anybody. Winthrop and Maryville, though, they're definitely really tough. So Western too, look out for those guys. They're really good. I don't think we've beat them in a scrim yet. So, but yeah, anyone, seriously. As far as up and coming programs, I think Western's awesome. Maryville's obviously at the top. There's actually a school in Minnesota, Concordia University. They're pretty good too. So,
I love
like
that.
it.
Anyone.
Yeah, anyone.
Taking on all challengers. That's exceptional. And I mean meme team in the nicest way possible, Like
I'm going to put that on the
love-
wall in our room out here, like the meme team.
Yeah, but yes, in a good way, just in that you guys are having so much fun and so many of these colleges aren't really willing to do that. So it is great to see that it's really an innate part of the program that you guys are running there. It's not just that these players in particular are having fun. It is that your group, your community has fun with it as much as possible while also trying to stay professional. So that is, I love it. I absolutely adore it. I've already loved you guys, but just hearing that directly from the director is exceptional.
It's an awesome thing you guys have going at your spot. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come chat with us tonight. Good luck to your team as they compete against a Purdue team. But we're thrilled to have you involved with the show. Thanks for taking the time. Good luck with your program and congratulations on the funding. That's a huge part of building in the esports infrastructure. And we continue to get stronger as a giant family altogether. 2-0 tonight.
We called the 2-0. We called the 2-0, right?
Give us a little hype. Give us a little hype before I cut this to commercial. Give me something. Give me something, Lucas.
A little hype. Oh, I mean, we're just super pumped to play Purdue. For a school like Bethany against Purdue, it looks really good to alumni. We're gonna dominate. Bradley's gonna int like 5 kills mid, and then we're gonna come back from behind. So let's go.
Let's go.
Crowd's going wild, Coach. Thanks for being here. It's great hearing from you. I love the confidence heading into tonight's matchup. We're going to head into a quick break, but once we're back, we'll get straight into the draft for the first match. Stay tuned. We'll see you in a minute. Welcome to the eFuse Collegiate Showmatch. I'm your host, OG Pickle. You guys already know that. Tonight's theme is hype. We've been bringing the hype all night tonight, although I wear some funny hats. I try to deter the hype with my own originality, but we stay. The hype is real. The hype is in. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I'm alongside Jolly and Ogg Battery, and tonight we have a battle between two interesting and dynamic Collegiate League of Legends program. One who had just got some funding, one trying to prove that they deserve some funding, so it should be an interesting dynamic. We got a meme dream team versus a dark horse. There's so many characters going on in my mind right now, but you guys build your own storyline with those facts. But I appreciate you being here tonight. We're excited to have you. Thanks for being in chat. I see chat's bumping tonight. A lot of Flawed Logic fans, a lot of things going on in chat as we excited to get ready to kick off. We're getting ready for the pick ban phase of our first match, but we've got a little bit of time to spare. So I'll kick it over to Jolly and Ogg to take it away from here. We'll just have a little last-ditch thoughts heading into the match. Jolly, now that you've had everything in front of you, what are your thoughts after you change your 2-0? Are you sticking with your 2-0 with Bethany? She looks like she's about ready to double down. I'm just throwing
after
it over.
that. After that interview, nah, I'm not changing things. It is. I would be prepared to double down here. Of course, we didn't get the chance to attack directly with Purdue. You did, of course, but there's a lot of confidence there. I've always loved this program, but it's great to get some insights like that to really just see how much of a family it is. It's not just appearing to be a family; it genuinely is there at that school, and I'm sure Purdue is working on creating their own family environment over there. A little bit more difficult when you don't have the funding, and when you hear things like we're not recognized by the school for Purdue. So fingers crossed that things move as quickly forward as possible for Purdue to get some funding, to get some real backing from the school. They've got an awesome part of the website already. It's time that they get a little bit of back. Honestly, they've got a whole esports section on their website. They better get some funding soon. I'd love to see Purdue have the ability to climb up higher and get some of the great resources that schools like Bethany Lutheran are able to find due to that kind of funding.
All I'm going to say is I think if last year, if we did have this random pandemic just, spawn peek us automatically coming out, it would have been so good. These guys, specifically for the league team, right? Like last year they were going to nationals. They would have made it. And obviously CLOL nationals got canceled, and coming in now, and like we said, when I was talking to Dreyer, their coach, they were just saying, hey, we are okay with playing Dark Horse. We are okay with coming in from the back pocket and playing without any expectations, because, narratives matter, right? A lot of people, when you're looking, especially when you're talking about trying to get that last bid, people want to see the teams that are like, hey, they have this awesome storyline that may play a little bit of a factor in getting them in. And so for Purdue, I think, they may be, both of us have obviously agreed that it's probably going to be a 2-0. I think that, counting out Purdue is always very, very dangerous, and it has been historically.
We do have, some exceptional players. There's a lot of love right now for Clam as well. And that's kind of, something that I touched on just a moment ago. Like Flawed Logic is definitely a player I'm familiar with. Probably the more familiar with, even though Clam has picked up a lot of speed in the amateur and the collegiate scene as of late. So there are some really good names on that team. And like you said, last year, this team was doing exceptionally well. I remember covering Purdue several times. And so, to have this returning member of Flawed Logic, there is a lot of promise here. That is, again, a senior, though, so you've got to consider where things might go here in the future, but a lot of opportunity for this school. I want to see the funding. The funding makes a really big difference for these teams. But again, you're absolutely right, Alk. Counting out Purdue is not something that we should do. I'm
taking them, Joey. I changed my mind. I say Bethany has all things going for them. They've got the good-looking money coming in. They've got the program. They've got the great jerseys. But you know what? I'm going to go over to my boys in the Midwest, and I'm going to say Purdue shocks the world tonight 2-1. I think they come out strong. I think they've got something to prove. I think my interviews inspired the team to come out swinging. I think I really brought something out that they looked at me. They called me earlier. They said, Pickle, whatever you talk to our players about pregame, you guys have changed our whole dynamic. Do you want to come be our director of esports? I said, sorry, I've got to do this show. I can't this week, but maybe next. And I'm going to say 2-1 Purdue.
All right. I love it. I love it. That gives us exactly what we need. And I'm sure that gives the chat exactly what they want in terms of a lot of Purdue fans out there. I've just, I've got some promises I got to keep.
I respect
Jolly's
that.
in the back pocket. She's in the back pocket of Lucas. Lucas is like, hello,
yeah.
Hand Jolly a little bit of money
After-
off the show, and she will just favor the team gladly. A little $50 gets you a long way on the pregame show. Suddenly your team's a 2-0, no chance. You're climbing the eFuse leaderboards. Jolly's
She's got to change the.
She's got a
the
ring
Boise
behind the
sticker on the
street. Like
back.
she's got it. It's a racket.
Yeah,
The Boise State logo on the back is going to be gone after this one.
Yeah, right. It's already partially cut. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna find a printer. We're gonna print something out. I'll draw it up. You know what? We'll have something in between the games. I'm gonna drop a little logo. We'll get this thing covered up right back here. And,
there you go.
We'll have some fun with it. I have some paper right in front of me. So
any sponsorship deals, Jolly is open to them. As you guys know, we're just killing a little bit of time. We're waiting for the teams to get the pro draft going. I'm about to pass it off to you two, though, as we're getting ready to go. But I'm excited. You guys will see me toward the end of the match. Unfortunately, big tears down the eye, but you guys are in good hands. Jolly, Battery, I'll send it over to you. Big swigs, big rally swigs from Jolly as we get set.
Yep.
Good luck tonight, guys, and I'll see you toward the end.
All right. Thank you so much, Pickle.
Bye.
Always good to have you here, and always sad to see it just, be the two of us. And in case you were wondering, yes, this is the new Ash bracelet.
Oh
yeah, Riot,
Okay.
give me things, and I'll show them off. A friend of mine got the Tryndamere Ash set up. He's a big Tryndamere fan. I play ADC, so we gotta rock this guy. Brand spanking new. And I will say to the people that got the Zaya Rakan ones who had issues, because I had that as well, this magnet is a billion times better, so you won't have to worry about losing your stuff.
Okay. Thank you, because I was going to pick one up, and I was like, I heard it was a little bit questionable, and I didn't really want to,
this one is like I have to work to get it. So I will say the Zaya Rakan, I am ashamed at how many times I have lost those and how safe I have to keep them now to ensure that I don't leave them somewhere again.
Man.
So better magnets coming from Riot. Again, Riot, give me things and I'll show them off.
Any team wants to sponsor, I just throw me some merch and I'll wear it.
I'm casting so much at this point. I'm like, I need to be promoting something here, guys. Yep. But promoting the schools is good enough for me, and that's why I love doing this. I love the collegiate and the amateur scene so freaking much because of so much heart that is put in, whether it's the directors of the schools themselves or even just the individual players. Man, you don't see people put this much and really, just have this much fun with games as these collegiate teams do. So already getting into the bands, though. We are running a pro draft here, so that's why it took just a moment, but it looks like we're going to start things off with Purdue. I'm assuming this is correct. Purdue on the blue side and Bethany Lutheran starting on the red side. Generally, loser picks the next side after that, so we'll have to see how things adjust. But Brand and Udyr is the first two bands there, and on the other side, we don't want a lot of speed. We don't want a lot of damage, so Seraphine and Hecarim are being taken off the table by Bethany Lutheran.
Awesome job by these guys. And I wonder what the focus for the series is, because you look at Clam going up against Hunter. These are, I think, you basically had a freshman coming in 2 years ago for Clam on Purdue who, talking to Dreyer, he was like, as soon as I saw Clam play, he got the spot. He earned it immediately. So I am looking forward to see how these two interact, because Hunter, like we said earlier, has been a long-standing member of the amateur and collegiate scene, and Clam, kind of a newcomer, is looking to kind of make his mark, and I think taking down someone like Hunter would be really interesting.
Again, flawed logic there on the bottom side too. Clam is certainly the one that most people are going to have their eyes on, but I do think that the bottom lane is going to be, a big point of contention here for Purdue. Obviously, in general, that tends to be the case just because you've got the early spawns down there. You've got the Dragon, which have been very, very effective as of late, but I already got to lean towards my boys here. The Rel pickup. Rel is so dang strong right now.
Rel's so broken, man.
She's so busted. They nerfed her. Didn't matter. And I don't know. We might get that third band pop through here for Purdue. We can see Tristana, who is just my perma band. Senna, I believe, is what I heard as that last band there for Purdue. Didn't matter because Solara and Hunt had locked in that ADC and bottom lane position there, or ADC and support with the Kai'Sa and the Rel. So already a lot of pressure, but a lot of damage coming out in response there from Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue, they want to move around. They want to have their double AD solo laners, allow for Nidalee to do something. I like this because it just means that you're going to have immediate prioritization. It will mean that we don't have a jungler picked up. Obviously, Shen is there, and if there's anything that Hunter can do, it is play these unconventional champions. So I think that, when we're looking at this now, we're going to have to start kind of dive into the pools, dive a little bit deeper. What does Hunter pull out versus Italy? I think there's a bunch of things that he can pull out. Maybe he tries for the Lilia. Maybe there's something else there that I haven't quite seen yet, because if there's anyone to do it, I think it's Hunter. I mean, I'm still waiting for the Nunu. I was promised when we were talking with Colomer that there's going to be that Dreher and Noon, they're going to leave up Zoe, they're going to let him play it, and then they're going to pick up, they're going to be like, okay, you have Zoe, we'll take Nunu for free.
Okay. Well, we'll see as we get in the second round of bans. Purdue does have the opportunity to lock a few members here. Nocturne is going to be the first one for them, and we can see that Alistar trying to prevent any sort of retaliation. Alistar is one of the better ones in 2rel, as well as Thresh. Both, honestly, all three of those supports are incredibly strong right now. Top tier, so really good choices by Bethany Lutheran to ensure that those heavy engage supports are not going to be accessible there for Purdue. They're going to have to rely on something a little more tricky, honestly, just to deal with the heavy hitters of Kaisa and Rel.
Yeah, they can go for someone else. So already, right, you have this massive dive composition, right? You got Volibear, you're going to have so much fun. So they're looking to just go for dive comps, which I think is really interesting because Colomer hates dive comps. Yeah. Every time I talk, he's like, please, I don't want to see Hecarim anymore. If you just have better dive, you're going to be the better team in North America. So I'm surprised that he's just like, screw it. We're going to double down. We're just going to go straight for it. We're going to go for our dive down. Just go straight under your turrets. And Purdue, they're rather squishy. I wonder how they're going to pivot. They can try to pick up a couple tanks, which is when you see someone like Nocturne, my first instinct. But things like Gragas are still available here.
Oh, and there's a lot of damage from Purdue. Oh my God, no way. They're just going to lock it in.
Let's go.
Okay, so this is a very accessible team for Bethany Lutheran to jump in on. They have a Volibear, a Shen, and a Rel. And it's not even necessarily the dive that's going to hurt them. It's just any crowd control, any lockdown at this point. And there you can see Galaxy's just going to be able to lock in the Syndra, getting a lot more damage, a lot of burst, and even more crowd control there for the team. So I adore Xayah. I main ADC. Xayah is my main for sure. Getting the Xayah Rakan combo is great. Unfortunately, Rakan is just not very strong right now. I hate how not strong Rakan is. However, I will say that I think I said that last time we had a show match. I'm pretty sure, and you were there for that, Alk, where we had an exceptional Rakan ultimate on the backside, and the team was able to push for the win off of that. And I've even got, that would have been ISU against Grandview the last time. And there's not much to be said about that in response. I'm kind of worried here about Purdue's selections. And I think we're just running through this a second time. Yeah. This is going to be the exact same. We're just running through it a second time if I heard things correctly before we hop into the game.
It's just hard to play Rakan because almost every single champion counters him right now. You have someone like Rel who the interaction just gets rid of her, getting rid of him. Can't land the W ever with Rel. You also have Thresh and Gragas and Alistar. It's just so hard to deal with him. If things like Braum come into the meta, then maybe Rakan starts to see a little bit of play. He's still not bad, right? You still have a really great way to just jump right into the back line, go for whatever you want. But like you're saying, Purdue are exceptionally squishy. And if Bethany are able to connect with one kill, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And also, going on to Galaxy, I think is definitely a way to attack this team because all of these champions want to dive in. Syndra doesn't have the best time going under turrets and definitely needs to have a little bit of setup. Same thing with someone like Xayah. So I like that Purdue have just decided, hey, we're going to pick up the Xayah. It's a little bit safer, can deal really well with dives. And for Bethany, the kind of the onus is still on Purdue. I think I would give it to Bethany if it were to kind of go into a much more later game. I don't think it will, considering the champions we see right now. Yeah. But looking at bot lane, and even this Renekton, I think is super dangerous. With the addition of Stridebreaker to the game, we basically have healed over that wound that everybody was like, okay, well, Renekton's big problem is when you get to late game, he doesn't have a very easy way of getting onto the back line. Well, now he has basically 3 dashes all of a sudden, which I think is super important.
That, and I mean, we're gonna see some really early appearances from Nidalee. That's I mean my expectation there. I don't know if it's gonna help though. This is such a squishy team. I know that's what we keep saying, but that's my main focus here. Such a squishy team, and then again, Rel, Shen, Volibear, who all have insane engage
Yeah.
And that dive ability, tank ability absolutely is in existence. So Purdue's got to expect that, but at the same time, I mean, you can only put so much pressure on these players early game. You know, it's not like this bottom lane is going to go in their favor to start things out. They're going to have to navigate around this Rel, because right off the bat, Rel is a pretty terrifying champion. We both said it. She needs to be nerfed again. Riot has been very big on recently. They people have been so used to things either getting nerfed into the ground or buffed into the sky that Riot's finally like, all right, we're going to do little nerfs. We're going to do little baby nerfs so that we can finally actually figure out how to make things just a lot more even, just flow better and settle a little bit more in terms of these champions. So this is clearly something that has happened with Rel, where she probably could have taken a giant banhammer or a giant nerf hammer, and it was a little tiny baby like a bottle opener hammer.
The nerfs are still significant. I think that adding what is essentially like 4 seconds across the adding 4 seconds across her entire kit for W is, I think, reasonable. And also, she's not the tankiest champion in the world. She gets a really nice shield when she demounts. So that's some way you can do it. And the thing I love about most about Rel is she has such an interesting level 1, level 2, because a lot of champions, when you're playing these supports, level 2, you're just going in and you're just like, okay, I'm gonna just pick up my champion and that's when I'm allowed to go. You go for the level 2 power spike, you go right in, you try to trade in on bot lane. But Rel, even level 1, if she demounts in that bot wave and then just comes out of the bush and hits you with a knockup, and then they proc over to level 2 and suddenly it's super dangerous. That's what I love about the playstyle for her. It's just like there's so many different ways, and I think skill expression is always super fun when there's new champions.
All right. We do have a little bit of a pause. Sorry for the delay here, guys. Bethany Lutheran, no surprise, they're causing us issues already. Purdue's like, come on, we don't even have a program, man. We're ready to play. But we should be hopping in really quickly. Just a few adjustments here from the side of Bethany Lutheran before we hop in. Honestly, okay, so we didn't get any smite TPs, so at least there is that. We have a little bit of trust here in Fricky in terms of, no lies, no NEC. He did say if it happens, it'll be an accident, but that clearly is not the case here. We can see, though, that Wizardish went with the exhaust here, and Hollywood went with the ignite as opposed to, a standard heal on that one. So certainly looking for those heavy engages, those deep dives, and some early kills as well. And sacrificing a little bit of heal is absolutely okay for Wizardish in this situation.
When you say deep dive, all I can think of is that Bethany have a deep dive pizza. They just they're going for it. And Arch kind of in a dangerous position. This happened in the Maryville matchup against them. Arch, you good, buddy? That's Ignite going down.
That is Ignite, and that's going to be another auto attack. Arch getting very, very low, but will be able to survive that.
Oh, for Galaxy, do it. Galaxy, do it.
Galaxy,
my king.
The one auto is all it took. Galaxy recognizing already, I got an opportunity here. That's 500 gold extra going over to Bethany Lutheran to start things out. And poor Arch, poor Purdue does not feel good about that one at all.
That just means that there's a little bit of prep going into this team, right? When you look at, I was watching Purdue versus Maryville. They got to play a 3-game series before going down to the 3rd place. They went 3-0, or they went 0-3 versus Maryville in their conference. I was wondering how they were going to punish Arch, because there's been a ton of games where he takes a very aggressive stance, and you can definitely punish it as going right onto Flawed. That's a flash, Ignite coming out.
Wizardish getting that Ignite. Arch is continuing on this. Hollywood is at full, though, and Flawed Logic is going to have to pop a couple pots there.
Wait, is this another
coming
one?
out from Wizardish. Arch getting down very low. The heal will be there in return. Wizardish now going to flash forward, gets the kill. Flawed Logic takes that. Ikith and Rain has to W forward and will escape with very little health, but that is already 2 deaths onto Arch and 3 summoner spells down from both sides now.
Arch, what are you doing? Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about Hollywood while we were here. Well, we had a little bit of downtime, but apparently we're not allowed to have any downtime on eFuse.
Never.
Hollywood was a player that originally was a mid lane player, right? He was, speaking with him, I'm friends with him. We'll actually get to have a really nice replay of this, of punishing the aggressive tendencies of Arch. They do get the knockup, but Galaxy saying, hey, this guy's probably dead. I could just get a nice 500 gold. I don't know if he was able to get a back off before, so he's not able able to spend that 500 gold for right now. But I love this punish yet again. Hollywood showing off some more expertise on the support role, because originally, like we said, he was a mid lane player. I cannot speak. Never mind. We're going for Kerp.
In the meantime, Hunter gets stunned up there by Galaxy, who picks up another kill. 2-0. Very quick appearance from Hunter there in the mid lane.
That's the dangerous thing about Volibear. He is literally just budget Hecarim. He gets to do an early game clear. The level 3 is the most dangerous. He has a point and click stun. You can't really move. It's a slow as well. As we're going to continue fighting onto flawed logic here. Clam. This is it.
Gets the W. Hollywood goes in for the pop-up, misses that one. Clam is going to be the next target here. Does have the double buff. Hollywood dodges the spear.
Kerp is here.
As the fight splits, Kerp is moving down. We can also see the Galaxy is as well. Wizard is taking down another one there. The flash in from Hollywood. Some good shots from Kerp. Means he's going to find one kill. Hunter will be the next target here. Arch picking up one and a double kill going over to Holy Kerp there. Purdue finding themselves 3-0.
Man, okay. Purdue saying, okay, no more styling, no more. You guys are not allowed to do this anymore. You can't just keep getting away with free kills. The gold will swing back for right now. Is even top lane. These two guys, they're doing their wet noodle fight between Shen and Renekton. They're having a lot of fun, but we're moving at a breakneck pace right now. Clam's not even allowed to really get all that much in terms of farm, but because of the kind of the hit that he took, Galaxy has to be really careful here. He has to lean a little bit towards the top side. Yeah, he's got everything. You see this? Look at the gold lead. It is so disgusting in certain places. Like, Nidalee has done most of her camps. She's able to even cycle this top side. We'll get double scuttle. And right now, Hunter, he will find himself a little bit behind because of the early gank there and the death going over.
Lots of damage now between Holy Kerp and Galaxy. We can see the scuttle there picked up by Purdue. So Purdue finding a lot of success off of that fight, and this just went from 600k or 600k, my goodness, 600 gold lead in favor of Bethany Lutheran, and now Purdue has found it. Clam coming in for an engage flawed logic with the W over the flash away from Galaxy.
Nice.
Hollywood now is the target. Here's going to turn back around for that engage. Here comes Hunter as well, but Holy Crypt manages to pick up the one kill. Hunter taking down flawed logic. Holy Crypt just going to back away from this one, but he did manage to pick up a kill in the meantime.
Purdue, what are we doing? We're just walking into mid lane. We gotta say, okay, let's give some. We're gonna keep this red buff. I wonder if this red buff will continue on into perpetuity, because the red buff went over to Hollywood, and then it went over back to Holy Kerp. So the Kyle squared on Purdue is really kicking in. Kerp is really far ahead, which is what you want to see on Purdue, but maybe not in the exact manner that maybe anybody would have expected.
There it goes away. Finally, we watch the red buff disappear.
Aww.
We do have an Infernal Drake here as our first real point of contention. Already some solid vision placed up by both teams in anticipation here of a little bit of movement, but somebody wants to get some pressure on the bottom lane before that happens. We'll see if this turns into an engage. It's hopefully, I'd assume we just get a little bit of back and forth, maybe a little bit of stall time, but we'll see.
Hopefully we'll see a little bit. And right now, when you take a look at where the junglers are, Clam kind of just getting most of his bot camps. He may just be prepping for an early Drake. His bot lane won't have priority, so I think what most likely will happen is he'll finish this. They'll try to push out on this wave that's bouncing from their turret, and they'll try to find something onto the bot lane of Bethany. But with Hunter not here, and he's going to be making his way, the bot lane's also taking a recall. I think this first Drake, weirdly enough for Bethany, who tend to really prioritize getting to objectives like the dragon first, are just going to be giving it up.
Yeah, with that recall, there's potentially enough time for Wizardish to make his way back down to this lane, but you got the mid lane that was pushed out severely as well by Kerp. So it is going to be a start by Flawed Logic here. Hollywood's going to throw down this ward. Obviously, they're aware of what is going on, but yeah, no contestation here. It just looks like it is going to be an easy first Drake for Purdue.
Yeah. Oh, also, for anybody at home that may have a couple of questions, Galaxies is still CP Freeze. Just a name change. He's going by Galaxy now. Just want to make sure, because I was confused. I had to ask Oliver. I was like, hey, we're going with this guy? And then he's like, yeah, don't worry, it's Freeze. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So we still have Bradley. Bradley, sadly, has not inted over 5 deaths. So, Lucas, we're going to have to have a talk later.
Hey, it was, we do have more games potentially here. That was the anticipation, but it was also a pullback from behind. They have regained the lead in gold here. We're going to see the ultimate come out from Valley. Hunter is in though. In response, Clam is on the way up. Valley will not be taken down by Clam. Hunter manages to leap over. There comes the Stormbringer. Hunter continues on the fight, having that ultimate, has the wrecker for the first one there. The Shen ultimate coming through as well, and Solura is going to find the kill. That's what that.
Everybody's coming. We've got, this is literally just now, what is it? It's from Smash. It's everybody's in the arena now. Let's go, Kerp.
Galaxy. The next one here, the culling actually comes out and has to be stalled immediately on the backside. Valley has been picked out, but a solid stun onto Solura. The ultimate coming from Galaxy is going to hit Valley, but not do enough damage to get the kill. Arch now looking for something on Hollywood, manages to find the feather collar here. Flawed is going to get the pop-up onto Solura, who's the next target, and Arch finds another kill, putting himself at 2-2-2.
Okay, and Purdue, they make their way topside to try and prevent for this topside play. Maybe they thought, okay, if we can stop the gank or at least go 1-for-1, we can then move over. They don't quite have vision of Kerp, so I think they're going to try and find him over this. They'll see Galaxy here, but Kerp walking into Volibear, no!
The stun just barely missed there by Galaxy, and that meant that the dash over the wall could be secured.
Hunter, you can't be here, man.
Though, might be looking for something. There is the W from the Rakan, and that will be a shutdown, easy peasy for Clam to pick up.
What do you do? Hunter, my friend, we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. You saw, you don't have your mid laner there. You're just like, fine, I'll just take this. There's no way Nidalee could possibly show up. What are we doing, buddy? we can't just be randomly going for, it's just a wolf camp. And he gave shutdown over, which is huge. Still, I mean, the goal at this point, I think, is kind of weird to talk about because it's easy to keep on swinging if we're continuing to play this game out like psychopaths, which honestly, nothing surprising, I think, for people like Bethany and Purdue. They're playing this game at a breakneck pace.
And we got the swap as well from these players. You can see Valley down here on the bottom side, whereas Zaya has continued to push up on that top side, and now Purdue is going to move over to their next objective here of the Scuttle Crab. Once again, no interference, no contest from Bethany Lutheran. They're just going to let these guys have this objective.
Yeah, interesting. They're doing this. They're obviously trading it away. I think that putting your, they're at this point, they're just like, they might even go for a dive here with this next wave. So Valley needs to be very careful. Just has to say, hey, I'm playing weak side Renekton. I think it's kind of a little bit strange. They want to play towards their mid laner. They want to try and get their solo lanes ahead, but trading this Rift Herald, just trying to get their bot lane a little bit ahead of Bethany's, I think, is an interesting trade. They're saying we don't need our Renekton to be very strong. We just want Arch to be in a empowered position. And if you're against Shen's like, okay, my ultimate does the same thing whether I have 400 gold or 4,000 gold. So I'm willing to take it. I think this is a dangerous trade if you're on the side of Purdue, if they're not able to kind of push this lead from here.
And that first tower, very quickly, just immediately before Purdue was able to pick up that tower, goes over to Bethany Lutheran. The bottom tower secured first. That little bit of extra gold as well is going to be going over to the red side, but it's been so close. And just like you said, Alec, we're going to be experiencing a lot of back and forth between this gold if these fights continue going the way that they are, because Bethany Lutheran is getting so much gold in terms of the pressure and the early kills they've got, but Purdue has been able to recover so much off of the victorious fights that they have found out of a bit of mispositioning from Bethany Lutheran.
Yeah, they're punishing, right? They're just saying, hey, you know, you're going for a little bit, you're going for some greed. Well, we're just going to take that. And now I want to look at the lane assignments here, because now they have Wizardish, I assume, is just going to pick up this last wave and then move down. We have a Drake coming up in the next 30 seconds and very little coverage coming out from the Bethany team. Looks like Wizardish might just be put on an island, or they're saying, we'll trade another Drake. We'll try to go for a four stack later on in the game. And try to maybe, or I mean, I think this is dangerous for them if they just decide we're going to ignore Drakes and try to pressure for turrets. They're going to try and get as many plates for their bot lane as possible. And I think this puts a lot of pressure on Galaxy right now to play very safe with no pressure from either his jungler being nearby or his top laner.
Once again, Hunter gets called out here. The ultimate is going to come through. The Blade Collar not hitting Hunter. Solura with the ultimate to get the save. The culling comes out and Hunter almost goes down, but ends up staying alive here. And that is just going to be a runaway from Bethany Lutheran. They went in a little too far. A flash and an ultimate had to be used by Hunter to stay alive. And that also means that Purdue is going to be able to make a quick move on this dragon.
What is that play from Bethany? Okay, Bethany, they are definitely down to clown right now. They are feeling it. They are feeling the mojo. They're saying, okay, Pickle, you want hype? Here you go, buddy. We're gonna do a whole bunch of plays. It's gonna look funny. It's gonna look like a lot of stuff is going down. But that's a really good punish for Purdue. And I think, to be fair, Bethany are being very disrespectful and a little bit greedy with what they want. They're like, okay, we can try to gank this top lane, but Hunter takes a ton of damage from the culling, takes a ton of damage from Flawed Logic and Arch, and then they all have to blow flashes. That is 2 flashes for basically just Flawed Logic Ignite at that point. So they'll try to go into Solora here. He'll get out. He's playing Shen. That is a flash coming out, and could be Shen going down.
It likely will be Shen going down. He did get a really nice dash to avoid the initial spear from Clam there, but the flash forward meant that that is an instant stun. In the meantime, Bethany Lutheran still trying to get some pressure up here on this top tower. Flawed Logic is back, though, and that is a lot of damage coming out from Holy Crypt. I mean, that's a 3-1-1 Lucian. We need to get to the point where Galaxy is able to participate in these fights, because that is a lot of Bethany Lutheran's damage, and he's kind of been stuck to this mid lane.
Yeah, he's basically, he's got the chain with the ball chain next to his ankle. He's like, I'm sitting mid lane. I am providing priority by moving the turret, and that is it. As we're seeing Purdue, they want to pull the trigger here.
There it is. The ultimate is going to come out. Hollywood is going to engage and use his ultimate in response, but that is too many members too close together for Bethany Lutheran to engage on, so that means Hollywood will go down with the Ignite going down as well.
Shelly, you want a second play-by-play caster? I'm
right?
cool with that if you want to do. Yeah, because at this point, it is literally just, we are fighting every 30 to 45 seconds.
They're so quick, though. They're such quick little fights, because most of the time it's Bethany Lutheran kind of mispositioned, and it's Purdue making a solid move onto that, and Bethany Lutheran doing everything that they can to actually just back away from the fight. So while, there have been a lot of fights, it's been real quick. I mean, there's not a ton expended, except for the player who ends up going down, who kind of utilizes everything and then goes down anyway in the fight.
I never thought I would see the day for a Bethany team, or really any team with Galaxy, that he is the most controlled and most tempered player on the Rift. He's usually the most aggressive or always looking for some kind of outplay. And this time, he is literally like the rock, the foundation for this team, as everybody around him is kind of a, have you seen that meme for The Simpsons where it's just the monkey knife fight, and it's just a bunch of people standing around them? That's what this game feels like. It is just a whole bunch of Bethany and Purdue players wanting to duke it out. They've got their fisticuffs ready, and they're looking for fights everywhere.
We can see also Hunter going with that new standard. I think it's moved away from the Stride Breaker, and now the Turbo Chem tank is the big one to go for. Galaxy just barely missing that that stun lockup, but it looks like Galaxy should be able to pick up this top tower. That's a lot of additional pressure that Bethany Lutheran has been looking for and not really been able to achieve here. Galaxy makes it happen.
And for Purdue, this is awesome, because now Nidalee gets to reclaim a ton of jungle space that she had previously lost, as they'll find Hunter here. He's going to use it in shield.
Gets caught out here, is not going to be able to get out. That's the ultimate coming from Flawed Logic. Hunter uses the ultimate in response to get over the wall, dodges the spear here. Solura with the ultimate staying united as well. That means that is going to be an alive Hunter, but how many times have we seen that exact thing happen, where Hunter either ends up going down or another member of Bethany Lutheran goes down due to the misposition of this Volibear?
They're using so many resources to just try and bail out Hunter. There's probably a play here now going on a Hollywood and Wizardish.
There it is. Ooh, the ultimate out from Hollywood, though, is a great one. The culling will come out in response. A lot of damage there. Hunter now has to back off, taking a spear to the face, and that was just a bunch of damage. Purdue dishes out, decides, all right, that's good enough. We've got pressure on this mid lane. Let's kind of recalibrate, as top lane now is heavily pressured on our side.
Yeah, there's 2 things now that I want to note here for Bethany. One, Hunter is going to lose basically both sides of his jungle camps now. And mid lane is incredibly difficult to hold if you're someone like Galaxy, because they can just go for a dive under the turret, especially with Nidalee, who focuses a lot more like an artillery mage. She has to go AP because of just the nature of having so many attack damage carries on your team, that with more and more vision control, dodging those Nidalee spears is going to be much more difficult as we continue. And a Mountain Drake coming up, a Mountain Soul potentially here for Purdue in a few minutes in the next last 10 minutes means that is also a win condition. That is a loss condition for Bethany. If a bunch of kind of squishy members get a very nice shield and a bunch of free resource or kind of just free defense stats, it's very dangerous for Bethany. So they need to kind of lock it down and look for something.
Hunter is going to go in. The taunt hits from Solora. A stun lockdown onto Clam. The teleport coming in from Valley on the backside. Logic uses the ultimate and then flashes away. The Blade Caller hits Hollywood, and that's a lot of damage onto all members of Bethany Lutheran. Clam is going to smack Solora with one of those spears, and a great stun there from Galaxy. The ultimate can follow it up. The responding stun on to Clam. Wizardish is going to follow that up and get a flash as well out of Flawed Logic, who goes down, and that means the Bethany Lutheran are going to find themselves the first dragon of the game.
Okay, they're starting it up. They're saying, hey, all right, playtime's over, kids. We're coming on into the Rift, and we're going to say something. Arch, huge damage from Galaxy.
That's too much damage, Arch. And that is instantly another kill. 5-0-2 is what Galaxy's sitting at. Everyone's okay with just letting Hunter solo out this dragon so they can get pressure here in the mid lane, and that is a tower down in every lane for Bethany Lutheran. They might be going in onto Holy Crypt here. Nope.
Yeah.
End up disconnecting. Wizardish does have that red buff, though, so good pressure from Bethany Lutheran.
Jesus. Okay, if Bethany were able to find that stun, I'm pretty sure that's just another dead mid laner here for the side of Purdue. That's a big shutdown. And the thing that I think has kept Bethany in this game for so long, you just look at the gold leads that some of their members have. We'll get to watch this fight. This starts off with an insanely good engage or counter engage coming out from Flawed Logic, who gets to use the ultimate, tags up all 4 members, and is stopping a lot of the damage coming through. But Hollywood on the opposite side, this Rel we were saying is so dangerous. She's taking up 3 members. The Blade Caller is now down, so a lot of Xayah damage is away. And as we continue to roll through this fight, take a look at some of the positioning. A lot of the Bethany members are incredibly still healthy. Solora is even able to back during this time, get the full HP, it can TP. And as we come out of this replay, I want to take a look at some of the members, the bigger members for Galaxy and Wizardish, as we get to re-see Arch getting stunned up yet again, gets to revisit the first kill of the game where it's Galaxy and Wizardish getting a bunch of damage onto him. But most importantly, the carries for Bethany have been picking up gold really consistently. 9,000 here for Galaxy, 9,000 here for Wizardish, able to pick up items, still is ahead of Arch, even though we had that lane swap and a couple of really interesting lane allocations as we gone through. So damage is staying on par for Bethany, but it was the early game that was very, very sloppy.
And then we could also see there, Purdue trying to push for getting the scuttle. They almost started it and then realized it probably would not be a smart move, knowing that Bethany Lutheran is around this mid lane. They did break off. Nobody is going to decide to move to engage on that. Bethany Lutheran really playing a... oh no, Solar.
What is that bug? Okay, he self-dashed. He self-dashed. That's fine. It was just a visual.
Dash over the wall. All right, we got Crypt now here in a potentially bad situation. Does have the dash away, though, in Flawed Logic. Arch and Clamor on the backside. Solara now needs to get out of this one. It's too much damage, though, and Arch is going to find yet another kill.
Man, that has been one of the big things that when I was watching through Bethany VODs is there's a little bit of a disconnect between some of the, and even this happens for Purdue, there's some disconnect between some of the laners and their jungle and support. Super important to have as we get further into CLOL. But right now we're seeing Purdue, they're attacking the mid lane and potentially an engage from Flawed Logic. We'll find Hunter uses the ultimate, culling out.
Culling's out. Hollywood goes back to the backside. That's enough damage from Galaxy. Wizardish ends up picking up the kill. Crip in the meantime has taken down Hollywood. The Blade Caller hits Galaxy.
Oh my god,
Wizardish. On the other side, Wizardish does so much damage there. The exhaust onto Arch. The Blade Caller does not hit because of the flash over. Wizardish with the quadra kill. And the Penta is secured.
Oh my god, Wizardish! That's one way to make an entrance into the show. Uses the killer instinct, repositions, and I want to take nothing away from Galaxy. That was an insanely awesome stun that we saw coming out from them against Purdue. Sets the fight up completely. It'll be the Baron for Bethany, and that is definitely, from the early game that we saw going back and forth for Purdue, Bethany now taking a pretty strong lead and looking about as dominant as we said coming into this match.
That's kind of what we're anticipating. Purdue doing a really good job on those fights, but man, let's look at this replay.
Look at that. Lands the stun. I mean, just Rel is just, I love this.
Just watch so Wizardish too, because so much of the focus here is on Rel and Galaxy. Wizardish is like, excellent, I can just poke down this backside and continue the fight on here.
Look at this stun right here. On to 3. It only stuns one member, but they're able to then find the execute onto the mid laner. And then this is just beautiful. Arch cannot create enough space, uses the ultimate, the Gale Force, which just says, oh, that's cool, that's cute. I have an ultimate, and now I'm going to get my pentakill. I'm going to be far ahead of you. And this sets up Bethany a little bit of a pit that they've dug themselves in. They still have to break down a couple of turrets, but with this Baron, just means that Purdue, they have no frontliner. They have nobody that can really start to be that primary engager aside from Rakan. Makes it that much more difficult for them to execute on this composition.
Absolutely. And now you're looking at a 5-0-7 mid laner, a 9-1-3 Kai'Sa there, and so much potential engage from Bethany Lutheran. As I mentioned before, even before the game started, it was the Shen, Volibear, and Rel is massive for this team. And not having Renekton be able to, really fight any of these fights, sitting at 0-3-3, very far behind. Only the Stride Breaker and the finished boots are built. And you're looking at the other side with a lot more in the pockets of Bethany Lutheran. So now, mid lane push here. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a one-shot. Galaxy ends up using the Zonius here. The charm comes through from Flawed Logic. The ultimate from Hunter. The flash away from Hollywood does not guarantee a safe life. That's going to be a double kill in the first 2 kills going over to Valley for this game. Still on the hub, but Wizardish does so much damage there to that Lucian. They're just going to back away from this fight. Oh, there are some pings coming through, though, because this is that it'll put them at soul point here if Purdue is able to get on this, and that's going to be it. Hunter has to flash away once again, but is ignited, so Flawed Logic picks up the kill. Solara is going to use the ultimate onto Wizardish, but it will not help.
Oh my god!
That's the W from Kai'Sa, steals it away. Now both teams are sitting at 2 dragons and no soul point for Purdue. Exceptional play. Wizardish MVP by far.
Adrian, if I don't see you hype in chat, man, nothing is going to get you to this point. Because, I mean, we get a pentakill in game 1. We get a dragon steal in the same game. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Look at this. I mean, he's level 13 Kai'Sa, has Baron. There's no way that this should do that much damage. 143! Oh, perfect Clam's timing. Not there.
Clam's
not there, so there's no
Clam's
smite.
not there. Clam's not there, no smite. But you can't get any better timing from Wizardish right there.
Yeah.
That was just beautifully played.
It doesn't fully absolve Bethany of their sins, right? Like, it's just a little bit of holy water on the forehead, but that was, I mean, that entire fight was started off with Hollywood and Hunter getting caught out, trying to save each other, and that was a death there for Galaxy. So some shutdown gold going over to Purdue is nice, but we were talking about Valley. We were saying, okay, well, Renekton hasn't done all that much, but I mean, its Stridebreaker has now not only the Sterix, but also a stopwatch. So very much a dangerous threat on for Bethany to deal with if they're allowed to get into the backside. It's all about accessing this backline and trying to create some chaotic fights. If they're able to attack from multiple angles, I think Purdue have a really interesting way to kind of blow up some of the squishier members, take out the damage, and kind of cut the knees out from under them.
They need to focus on where Wizardish is at, though, because kind of given that idea, we saw the last team fight, it wasn't split. I mean, it was just a mid-lane fight, but Wizardish repositioned so incredibly well to focus down that backline specifically, acknowledging that there will be enough frontline there to contain the tankier members. The teleport coming in now. Valley does use the ultimate here.
Wizardish
going to be jumped on by Wizardish. The ultimate coming out in response from Arch, and down very, very quickly goes Valley as well. 4 members here on the top side for Purdue. I don't know how much you can help here, Clam.
Yeah, this is a full court press now because Kerp, he's trying to pick up as many resources as possible. Say, look, if I can just get some more gold in my pocket, maybe I'm able to turn these team fights with my culling. Trying to pick up the bot wave. They also push into the mid lane. Their Baron is up right now, so they'll just take down this turret as they slowly tank it. But Hollywood on this rel looking so awesome as Flawed Logic trying to stay alive as long as possible. They're going to push for one inhibitor. Bethany should be able to escape here, but man, this is just getting, I mean, the gap now is the door is starting to close in front of Purdue as more and more of these team fights we see are just completely one-sided for Bethany.
And as the gold differential grows in Bethany Lutheran's favor, it's just going to get worse and worse, or harder and harder. And it's not a 15-minute game, not a 25-minute game even here, Fricky. It's already at getting close to 30 minutes now. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to hit that 30-minute mark. There's no way we can get the pressure necessary, but this is going to be a Baron up in 35 seconds. Bethany Lutheran already kind of moving forward to get some vision down here and prepare to make a move on this objective. If that can be taken, that is going to be it. And it seems like they're actually focusing a lot on just baiting out these fights and then immediately after going for those objectives. They're not even willing to start them. They're just willing to wait for the fight to occur and then gain whatever they can off of a victorious one.
Yeah, this is where now the position of Bethany, they can force Arch specifically to have a really tough time in team fights. I wonder what their lane allocation will be, because right now they're stacking a bunch of people in mid lane. They're trying to push out this top wave because obviously it's just spawning supers, and they want to make sure that if it does go wrong, they can have some kind of fallback plan coming into the next few minutes, going to stall out that top lane push. Because if they get Baron for Bethany, they can just march down top lane and mid lane as well, with just how accessible it is right now to them, and really start it off as they're going to try and find an engage onto some of those members. Watch how they're just in fog for Flawed Logic, trying to find some kind of engage. And now with Renekton bot lane, they have the TP. Bethany are going to move into the river. They're going to take out all of Vision and say, Purdue, walk into us, buddy. It's do or die time.
And I mean, Purdue knows exactly what's happening there. We can see that blue trinket popping up, a lot of damage coming down, the teleport coming through on this fight. No. There we go. Hollywood goes in. No ultimate allowed there. Solura trying to get this backside. There is the stopwatch from Valley we were talking about that was just picked up on. Arch manages to get
Galaxy.
But so much damage from Galaxy. Wizard is on the backside, managing to use that ultimate to pick up a triple kill. If I'm not mistaken, another quadra there for Wizardish. No penta again, but a solid ace, and that should be the game victory for Bethany Lutheran.
All right, I'm picking Colomer, and I'm going to ask who stole the penta on that last one, guys. You're really going to stop Wizardish from getting a double penta in the eFuse show match in game 1 of the series? Come on, guys. We're barely going to be cresting over 30 minutes here, Jolly, but Bethany, 25-15, and basically 10,000 gold. It was a rocky early game. It was definitely it was a fun one. We got to do some slobber knockers here, but Bethany looking about as strong as maybe we would have expected. We're going to finally get to rewatch this Baron fight, as this is looking really good from Purdue to start, Jolly. They find one kill, they find Hollywood, they get to back off, they do a ton of damage, but it's all Galaxy all the time.
And it's this re-engage. They kind of move back towards this jungle here, towards this other river bush. And it's this Q, just wait for the setup. As soon as Galaxy gets a few balls down and decides that this is a solid engage, the pushback lands on 4 members. Every member aside from Flawed Logic, the ultimate coming out, the ultimate from Wizardish there. I mean, my goodness. You know, you got. Galaxy getting the one. That's all right. You know, you can't. Right. I think that was Galaxy who ended up taking that penta kill away. But it was in the middle. You can't be upset about. You know, if it's the 5th kill, that's where you get upset.
As a marksman, I can take it. As a marksman, I'm like, where's my penta? Who stole this, man? I'm a greedy AD carry, so.
He already got 1 pentakill. All right, Galaxy did a whole lot of damage that game. Oh my goodness, just in general. That game was insane. I mean, Bethany Lutheran had the gold lead most of the game. We could see there, especially once it got to the half point. It seemed like a lot of those wins were coming through. Really solid positioning from Purdue, but at the end of the day, it's the aggressors, it's the front line that Bethany Lutheran had for later game that just allowed them to take over all of those fights and really control all of the objectives from 25 minutes on.
I will say those first 15 minutes are not convincing for me, Bethany. The fact that we're playing basically a who has better fingers game for the first 10, 15 minutes of the game does not instill a lot of confidence in me. You got the win. I'll give you that. I won't take that away from you. But when we're looking at it, you guys have a scaling comp. You look at Purdue, they are the beatdown. They have to try and get you to a low enough point earlier in the game before you can scale. And you kind of just played into their zone. You played right into their win conditions. So coming into game 2, let's reel it back a little bit. You are the meme team, so maybe you get to have a little bit of fun. That's your game 1 fun. But I'm looking for something that gives me a little bit more confidence in this squad.
The only thing for me there was Hunter. Just be a little careful. Everywhere.
Use the e-brake. Use the e-brake. Come on, man.
Yeah, don't go in quite so deep, but otherwise everything looked really good. It is a best 2 of 3, but we are going to take a very quick break, so don't go anywhere. Go grab your drinks, grab your snacks, go use the bathroom if you got it, if you're chugging energy drinks like I am here. But we will be right back with game number 2 between Bethany Lutheran College and Purdue University, so don't go anywhere. We're back.
Woo!
And we had a pretty insane game. That last match, Bethany Lutheran taking it home. This is a best of 3, though, so we do get a bit of a rematch here. And, Alec, what would you like to see? I kind of talked about what I'd like to see, and I can cover that again here in a moment. But what would you like to see from Bethany Lutheran to get more of a, I guess, controlled game? More what we were expecting.
Bethany, let's this is really good. This is something that, when you get more resources and you get that facility, you can also get maybe a personal coach or maybe a wellness coach over there, maybe from your sports department. Breathing exercises, they slow down your heart, they slow down, a bunch of other processes. It makes it so you're calmer. You don't have all that adrenaline rushing in. Getting into game 1 is fun, right? You get to play League of Legends, you get to play a little bit of it in competitive. It's always a lot of fun, very exciting. Let's calm down. Let's you guys have a lot of great players. We were talking about it in the pre-show, and we were talking about it a little bit during the game when we got to, but you can slow down the game and still out execute your team. Definitely a different kind of showing from what we saw during the regular season for Collegiate, but I'm hopeful that we see, a similar kind of win here for Bethany, but a little bit cleaner, obviously.
Yeah, cleaner. My advice was Hunter, just kind of slow it down a little bit. I think that's honestly because every other member seemed you had such good control from Galaxy and Wizardish, who obviously were the carries there. But there were a lot of times that fights went bad because Hunter had to kind of be bailed out. And things turned very, very quickly. I think, at that instance too, it's difficult to just kind of leave your jungle to die if you have members that are moving in, but you always got to expect when they're moving in on their own side of the jungle, they're going to be there faster than you are. So sometimes it's best to just let that happen. It ended up working out for them in the long run. And now from Purdue, I know exactly what I want to see, and that is frontline. Frontline, maybe some engaging there, but just a tank, please. Just a tank. Yeah, engage would be nice, but just get a tank in there. Somebody who can soak up damage. I like we've got the Rel ban out actually from themselves here, Bethany Lutheran. So it's something that they don't want Purdue to pick up because it is very strong right now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting discourse I've heard from talking with some of the coaches about, some of the side selection that you get. Red side is obviously very strong. Blue side, you get to just first pick one of the strongest champions. And with Hecarim still on the board, I assume that might be what Hunter just immediately reaches for. Course. But there are so many dangerous duos you can pick up on red side that you can just on R1, R2 just immediately snap up. And then it's Bethany's turn to kind of come up with a response. So I'm looking forward to see what they come up with, especially with just where we are on supports right now with Rel gone. I think it opens up the pool as we're opening up with double magic damage here. It's some flexibility between Kerp and Flawed, but I would be very surprised if we saw this in the mid lane.
Yeah, I would be incredibly surprised. I mean, we know that that Clam just went on the Nidalee last, so the Galio. It can though, because that's the nice thing about this champion is very easily depending on what is picked up by the enemy team. Yes, Galio incredibly strong, especially for flawed logic. Certainly one that could easily be picked up. But man, I mean, having a Galio that ultimate available for the top side and the bottom side when you do run it in the mid lane is exceptionally helpful and can be really huge, especially if you've got somebody like the Nidalee there in the jungle who is, able to take a lot less damage than somebody like the Hecarim there. And we can see that Nautilus has been at the lock-in. Nautilus top. No, I'm just kidding. But Nautilus top OP. It's going to be, I'm assuming we're going to have a nice Nautilus there with that Kaisa. That's a great combination as well. Hey, if you can't get the Rel, you know what? You banned it from yourself so the enemy team can't have it. And there it is, the Camille lock-in. And we know exactly where that's going, or at least you and I do, Alc.
Okay, we're playing the top side. Valley, this is your time to shine, buddy. You're going up against Solera, who even in solo queue, he is literally, if you ask anybody in the high elo ranks when you're playing against Solera, if you have Camille, it's a run. It's dodge on sight. Please do not play against this guy in Camille. He's a monster. And so taking that away, like you were saying, you have the Galio who can play away from him and just say, hey, look, we're doing Galio, Camille. It's very easy to execute. And allows for you to have that kind of engage. You can pick out one member. You can immediately blow up someone like Wizardish. Even if you want to go on to Hunter, who we saw already had some positioning errors in game 1, could be the way that Purdue look for victory.
Could be. I'm already liking this a lot more. Though, we are going to need, you've got a solid tank there in the Galio. I can imagine they're going to be wanting to go for straight damage here at this point, but it is a big trade. When you pick up the Nidalee in the jungle, that means that you've got to have two other lanes with a solid tank. Obviously, that bottom lane makes it really easy, but that also means that your top lane or your mid lane has to go a little bit tankier. Right. And the fact that a Camille has been picked up means that it's more damage than tank. More escapability, though, more solid positioning to be capable coming out here from Arch with the Ezreal lock-in. There's a lot of options. There are a lot of options. I'm still just a little bit concerned because of that Nidalee pickup. You need to have a little bit of extra tank in the bag for the rest of the team.
Now, I know this doesn't fit the tank narrative that we want to keep pushing here, but if Wizard or if Galaxy picks up another mage that is something like a Zoe or something like a Syndra, as Solara just reaches for the Kled there for the counter pick, there is a world where we see a Nocturne in mid lane and just connects so well with some of the other members on Purdue. It is I think a long shot and definitely not something as prevalent, but against into another melee matchup, I think it's very possible.
And it looks like that Akali is going to be the lock-in there for the mid lane. Once again, here in this mid lane, Galaxy is going to be the majority of the AP damage on the side of Bethany Lutheran College. So really focusing on trying to get high damage champions. Akali obviously being a big one there. Now the final pick for Purdue is going to be locked in as the Taric. So it is going to be that Galio in the mid lane. Honestly, I kind of prefer that. A Taric Ezreal in this bottom side, though, might work out quite well for Purdue if they can get some solid positioning on that stun, that hard lockdown from the Taric E. I like this these matchups so much better than the last game that we saw, and really much better for Purdue in particular.
I just like that we're seeing Taric. Like this is a whole new pick. It also does really well into some of the dive that Bethany wants to kind of opt into. Also, because of this Akali and because of where they've gone with the Kled, just means that Bethany are incredibly short range. You only have one player who's going to be playing on ranged. You have a ton of melee champions that Taric is going to love to try and stun, and the ultimate is going to be so key. But for Purdue, they need to be able to make it to level 6 pretty safely. With Ezreal, I assume is going to be very easy. We'll see what happens in the game because I can feel it. But this just gives someone like Hollywood a lot of agency to try and get out of the lane as soon as possible. Try to affect the kind of the map state for Bethany and make sure that, hey, if you do reach level 6 on Taric, well, now the entire game is kind of lopsided immediately.
Right. It gives them a lot of opportunity, but again, based on how we're playing, especially considering you've got the counter pick as well on the top side, so Solara should be able to get a lot of pressure down in very early and make a move into the other lanes earlier on than and given Kled, it makes it even more accessible to be able to ult down into the mid lane, to be able to come down and interfere with something like the first dragon but like dragon objectives and other objectives moving on. So that's probably where Bethany Lutheran is going to at least put pressure on Solara here, but that means that Hunter will be able to focus down the rest of the lanes. And as we saw in the last game, Hunter very quickly showed up with a mid lane, I think it was just barely at level 3, a mid lane gank that allowed Crip to pick up a Galaxy to pick up the second kill of the game. And again, they had so many early game kills there that Purdue can play from behind. That's something that we've seen. They play from behind, they get ahead, they might fall behind again, but they find really good, successful fights. So a very, very solid job from Purdue communicating where they know that they will be victorious or where to kind of disconnect and disengage from these fights.
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of, I have such like a weird like mental image of how Purdue wants to play fights. I'm looking at the laning phase. Camille is taking Ignite. So TP Ignite. So we're going to try and play as aggressive as possible. When we watch this matchup, everybody at home, if you don't already know, if Camille uses E, Kled is super ecstatic. He's like, yes, thank you. You used E. You no longer have a way to escape me. Awesome.
Yep.
I'm jousting, and we're going in. We're fighting. So everybody, we're looking at top lane to be a lot of the early action. Akali versus Galio is a little bit of like a Nazir versus Corki matchup. We're just falling asleep. They're not going to be farming all that much.
Right.
Ezreal does the same thing bot lane. We are focusing on top lane when we're looking for this matchup here in game 2.
And actually, yeah, given that, I'm going to say that Hunter's probably going to do the same thing, but try to show up early on. Obviously, you can't do that easy level 3 unless you change up your clear, but you can easily make it up to that top side of the map after doing a full rotation and then pop in, particularly as that Hecarim, who's got nice quick clears and the ability to easily engage on these. No big surprise there that the Ghost Smite is taken by Hunter here. And as we mentioned, Teleport Ignite has been taken by Valley. So even more opportunity for Hunter to make an early move on that top side, given a lack of flash.
I wonder where, so you had alluded to, is Hunter going to go for an early level 3? Is he just going to go for a full clear? It is up to Nidalee to make the first move. Hecarim, if he wants, he is literally just going to be farming. He can even move into the enemy jungle if Galaxy is somehow able to get some early pressure into the lane. That is really cheeky Hollywood. I love to see it. And
I said that last time about Clam, and it took a lot longer for that Nidalee to actually engage, and I was expecting a little bit later invade from the Volibear, but given the champions, having the opportunity with the E being, calling in the storm and being able to get a little bit of that long range damage, just a little bit more difficult for Hunter. You got to go in with some speed, and you got to be able to actually secure something. You don't have that easy point and click stun as you were talking about before. Again, given no flash though on the top side, I would not be surprised if Hunter decided to go up there quite early. Hollywood and Wizard is potentially looking for something here. There it is. It's going to be a hit onto Flawed Logic though. The stun will come out onto Wizardish here. Now Arch takes a few hits. That passive from Hollywood getting a little bit of a lockdown, but that hook was not looking for Flawed Logic. It was looking for Arch, and it didn't work out.
And that is a really good trade for Purdue. That is an early heal coming out from Wizardish. So won't mean anything for right now. I think that'll just kind of dissuade Bethany from going for any early other trades. Valley gets an early level 2 versus Solora, so that just means we'll be able to get the dismount. It's going to take, I think, a few more minions and before we see this Kled really start to take off and do any damage. But really good job from Valley early on to kind of take it into the lane and say, like, hey, I'm going to make this a little bit as much of a disadvantage as possible early on.
We can see Solora there trying to use the Q to back away from Valley's W there, but that slash still went through. So a lot of damage onto Solora. Good pressure from Valley, as you said. Nice little taunt there on to Galaxy, but this is an Akali. So even when you think you've done a decent amount of damage, you forget exactly how much she's able to do in response there. And that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of. Like you said, Alec, just kind of back and forth here in this mid side. We have Wizardish and Hollywood actually moving up here. I'm not sure if Hollywood is going to stay and try to get engaged. Clam is in the wings. Wizardish heads back down. There it is. Hollywood decides to go in. Clam with the flash forward ends up picking up the first blood there. And that was a flash out of Galaxies as well. Now, Flawed Logic forced to flash over that river wall, as we could see Hunter and Wizardish coming up.
Yeah, but both teams are saying, hey, someone is in this river and they're making a little bit of a mistake. They're not allowed to be here. So Laura and Valley, they're fighting. The jousting comes out. The hook shot lands. Going to dismount here. Clam, TP as well from Galaxy.
Oh! The Ignite went out from Valley. The other TP coming through, and that means that's an instant disengage right there from Galaxies. That is both summoner spells down now from this mid laner.
And we'll watch this. Yeah, Clam, thank you, Dreher, for actually, getting through on what I was promised. He promised me coming into this that Clam, if you look up jungle gap, it comes up with his face immediately. He's supposed to save NA in the jungle position. And he's coming up with some aggressive early games right now. Hunter just looking to farm. I would hope that he's trying to find Italy, because if he ever finds her in a 1v1, it's very dangerous for Clam. You see, that's why he took the Conqueror there to just try and do as much damage as tanking turret Flawed.
The Wizardish is going to get hit by that exhaust. Arch is on the front side now, able to do so much damage. Wizardish has to flash away. Hunter looking for an engage here, has the red buff. There is the dash in. Gonna get the kill. The stun does lock Hunter down, and Hollywood just barely misses that shift, but a flash came out from Arch. Wizardish now so incredibly low. No ultimate for Purdue, though. Only level 4 means that these two are gonna be able to make it out alive. Ends up being a 1-for-0 for Bethany Lutheran.
Okay, and Bethany Lutheran, they're trying to get back into this bot lane because they, the early trade that we talked about, it has really zoned them away from farm. You see that Arch has a little bit of a lead right now. We were talking about that heal disadvantage. Well, now Arch gets to slam this wave, gets to do a little bit of damage. We'll have to take a back here and won't be in time for this dragon. But Purdue looking good in the early game so far. They took control of the top lane by taking really, really heavy trades from the Camille. They also just have, Arch, who's now really far ahead, as well as even the mid lane. Galaxy having a little bit of a tougher time this time around, especially with the help from Clam. So looking forward to see how Purdue kind of takes this lead from here. They're moving around. They're trying to get vision on this top side. And note this, once we start to see Kerp hit level 6, he has the Predator. He picked up the boots on the first back, so watch for the early roams coming out from the mid laner.
Got eyes there on Flawed Logic up to the mid side. We can also see Hollywood making a little bit of a roam, trying to get some vision down, find something out as this first dragon is available. Purdue has close to a 1K gold lead. Actually, not as close now that Bethany Lutheran's able to get a little bit of farming off, but farming for the most part in favor of Purdue right now, thanks to their control and pressure in each of these lanes. And a lot of thanks to Clam as well for showing up
Watch
so
the roam.
consistently.
Kerp is here, level 6. They're looking for the dive. Hunter is here. He's trading out a couple of wards. Doesn't quite know where they are. He'll know that Clam is here. But right now, so Laura, it's time to back out. Time to hit the E-break on top lane. We're getting out of this as soon as possible. It does not have level 6, but Valley has the command to protect. Okay.
And there it is, the ultimate coming in from Galio, the Hex Tech ultimatum as well. So Laura may go down here trying to get as much
Oh my
damage.
God, Kerp.
No way, Kerp ends up walking back in and then flashes away, but not far enough. Goes down a 1-for-1 in the top lane.
Oh, that's as good as it's going to get. And Purdue, the execution is a little bit sloppy, but they're able to pick up themselves the kill. They'll force the TP out from Galaxy. So even though they don't get as many turret plates as maybe they would have expected, taking this turret trade is kind of within their books. They have to know that, hey, bot lane, you have to either try to protect our camps or we're just going to lose them. The blue buff is getting traded over right now as Hunter's slowly kind of taking this one away. They might even start up the Drake here. Nidalee should still be on top lane, so this could be a potential Drake for them to take for free as Camille has to invest a TP here, and if they want Bethany, it's all theirs.
It is. It's absolutely theirs. They might be looking for the pressure here, but Flawed Logic and Arch aren't far enough out. They're actually not going to take the dragon here. It was a recall.
Hollywood.
It was a recall there as well from Clam. It would have been a perfect opportunity for Bethany Lutheran to have taken that dragon as well. You mentioned Valley having to use that TP. They saw that happening, but they were not risking going for that dragon, even though they've got solid vision and had the positioning there. They're going to wait for Purdue to push this out a little bit and maybe kind of respond to that, but Hunter's being a little bit obvious here. Will decide to go in. There's the dash on a Flawed Logic who flashes away in response. The ultimate there from Hunter. Arch is out, is ignited here. And that is going to be a route onto Clan. Wizardish, excellent Void Seeker there. Managed to pick up the one. In the meantime, on the top side, Valley is looking for Solara. There goes the Ignite. And that is going to be an easy kill for Valley right there, winning a losing matchup.
Okay, so we had to look a little bit at the mini-map there for a little bit. We had to go top lane. We had to go look at bot lane. The biggest part that I would say, the reason why we saw Bethany not end up taking this is because they wanted Galaxy to come into mid lane. They wanted to walk into the river when they had mid priority. So they try to find this fight here. They're able to get 2 kills, find Arch. This is just an excellently placed Onslaught of Shadows, just barely playing on the edge there. I think Wizardish ends up living this because of the ultimate. Oh no, okay, so it's just Hollywood playing Nautilus. Great champion right there. Okay, there's Killer Instinct. And then top lane, Solara just gets hit with the basic ability Cho'Gath ultimate. There you go. There's the true damage. Does 3 times as much damage. And they're able to finally find the Drake, but awesome job from Bethany trying to play her on their priority of their bot lane, trying to push out this Hecarim, or push out this Ezreal and Taric. And now pressure is on Purdue. They're playing her on their top side, but Valley, is this lead big enough? How do they utilize this? Do they try to explode another lane? Do they try to maybe get a TP in the bot lane? Do they try to unlock this turret, try to blow it down? It does have 3 turret plates left. And if they're able to get maybe 1 or 2 more, I think maybe Camille can kind of step into that role as a main carry for the team.
You got 4.5 minutes left on that, so plenty of time. Valley is also ahead right now, almost 30 creep. So look at that. It's 45 to 75 now. So already a huge lead there and a lot of pressure thanks to Solara kind of getting a little too deep. Each time we come to these engages, Solara is already dismounted there from Skarl, and Valley just has to kind of continue the engage. Is not taking quite enough damage. And again, a lot of that has to do with the extra gold that Valley is picking up here thanks to the pressure. We might be looking at something here in the mid lane. Galaxy not quite far enough ahead for Flawed Logic to find an engage there. 0-2-0 is what he's sitting at, so he's got to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah, and all that happens because of this. I've loved how Purdue have kind of played around their top side right now in this game so far. They've invested a ton of vision. You see that every time we see a reset from Flawed Logic, he's moving. Arch as well, playing this incredibly well. He knows, hey guys, I know I'm bot lane and I know I'm the play right now. Everybody's either on a reset or sitting top lane. We just took the Rift Herald. I'm just going to sit back. I'm playing Ezreal. I don't need to step up on the wave. He uses the Arcane Barrage to try and get some of this wave down. They could potentially find something onto Wizardish, but with no flash on Flawed Logic, I think it's a little bit difficult. I love how they've been investing vision, trying to protect Camille and put a ton of pressure on Solara to try to make a mistake or try to get that potentially, threaten to dive under the turret.
It's also tough for Flawed Logic. They're still sitting at level 5. Should be very close to 6 now. So no availability for the ultimate on that engage if they did decide they wanted to move in on Wizardish. There we go. A nice little overview. So we can take a look. The Bethany, right? And we can take a look at the plates here. So that bottom lane is clearly where Purdue has been trying to get some of this responding pressure, but Bethany Lutheran has just had so much pressure there. Top side, as we can see, again, 14 minutes is when those plates go down, so there's still 2.5 minutes left here on board for extra gold to be picked up. Bethany Lutheran currently in a very, very slight advantage of gold here. And this has been, as well, that just the number of fights that have broken out, it has been so much smaller compared to that last game, so a lot more controlled play coming here out of Bethany Lutheran. A lot less deep dives, a little bit more recalibrated. This is kind of what we were looking for from them, not being too cheeky.
Yeah, no more deep dish. We're going for just a plain, cheese on top of the sauce. We're not going to do anything fancy here. As now Solara potentially being threatened with a dive and just backing out. Now Kerp is on the way, so at this point Solara probably has to just give this up, especially with the Rift Herald here. Hunter is here. You just look at bot lane, man. You're just saying, okay, Solara, give it up. You're playing Kled. You just need to get into the backline with your ultimate. We're going to use your ult, the charge for something else. As they're going in, that's an exhaust. That's the ultimate coming down.
Ultimate does hit. Hollywood is trying to be the engage here. Flashes away from Flawed Logic stun there. 2 members relatively low, but Arch is low enough that Wizard just wants to continue this fight. See that Void
flash,
not going to hit. And in jumps Hunter. He used the Onslaught of Shadows to try to get away from this Hextech ultimatum, but it is not going to be enough. Galaxy decides to re-engage here onto Clam. There it is, the secondary.
Oh my god, Galaxy.
In comes Hero's entrance there as the ultimate from Galaxy comes out, the flash away from the wall. Means that Valley gets to hook shot into absolutely nothing. Beautifully played there from Galaxy. And now the rest of Bethany Lutheran might be looking for an engage here. That root is going to hit. Wizardish pick up the one. The root onto Arch as well. Very, very low. The ultimate. What? An ult, the killer instinct coming out there from Wizardish to reposition to avoid the Mystic shot right there, and that means a double kill goes over to this player. My goodness, all eyes in these games should be on Galaxy and Wizardish for their positioning in these plays.
Man, Bethany, okay. That was pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I was wondering when Wizardish, he's waiting till the last moment to use that ultimate. You saw it, and now they're calling the TP. This is in vision, so they know this. Wizardish just saying, I'm gonna have to just give it up. Guys, no. Wizardish, you're gonna die either way on this play. They're TPing Galaxy, double TP. We're going for a team fight potentially.
Oh.
Charge is available
here, but they do disconnect from this one. They decide to try to go in. The ultimate coming out from the Kled. This tower's going to go down maybe in a moment. The ultimate from Ezreal coming out as well. The root on the backside there. Hollywood is the next target. The pop-up onto Valley while Clam on the backside is attempted to go down. Wizardish, though, manages to get a lot of damage down. Now Crip is the only one here with a health bar as a double kill gets picked up by Solora. The flash being expended there to solidify that, and that should be an easy dragon for Bethany Lutheran.
An amazing fight yet again, and they play on such low resources for some of the other carry members here. You look at Solora, we're saying, look, you're playing weak side top lane, buddy. You're playing Kled, you're using the ultimate just to use it. And that 2-level lead that Valley may have had is now completely shrunk. We were talking about 30, slowly starting to creep up, has gotten a ton of kills and assists in the past few minutes. And with this Drake going over, an Infernal Soul now here as Flawed Logic, very dangerous in your positioning. You can't be here, buddy. Your mid laner is now sitting bot lane. Your top laner's nowhere nearby. Going for some deep wards. Need to do some hand holding whenever you're going for deep wards. We'll get to watch this fight again. And a ton of ultimates are no longer available here in this fight. There's no Taric ultimate to dissuade this dissuade this dive. There's no Camille ultimate as well, so you can't slow down the fight on the side of Bethany. And Clam, try as he might, is trying to find damage, but I mean, Hunter gets a full, I mean, he's just so tanky at this point. He can be that a bruiser, assassin tank that every AD carry player knows that Hecarim can be. It is just completely one-sided for Bethany.
And Wizardish did such a good job on that, actually flashing back as well beyond the fight just to stay alive and stay on the outskirts of that. And then we can see Flawed Logic right there picked out in a dangerous position. But man, Wizardish's positioning. Wizardish's positioning
That's a tongue twister. I get you.
It really is. On this Kai'Sa is pretty exceptional. And this is the start of this fight right here. This was what happened before, I believe.
Just use the ultimate. This is the one where we're like, okay, come on, just use it.
Well, look at that. Beautiful. And the shift occurs as well right at the exact same time. So it ends up working out so incredibly well. Wizardish, I think, also using the flash at the end of that fight. So just, I mean, exceptional positioning, whether it is a full team fight, whether it is a 1v1 or a 2v2. This player clearly knows exactly where to be to stay alive and to get the damage down that's necessary for the team to win the fights.
Yeah, and that also is right after the mid lane play, right? Where Galaxy is in a 1v3 situation. He gets the one kill. He's able to also to kind of flash out. It's very nice to look at, but it is literally just Bethany picking off kills, getting kills where they can. As now we'll get to see two Fed members. Kerp and Clam are here. Galaxy in a really dangerous position.
Kerp is going to ult in.
Oh my god, man.
Galaxy might be able to make it out, though. Dodges that, uses the Zonias, the stopwatch here. Will not escape from this fight, but a lot of time that Purdue had to spend on this bottom side, and some pressure in response was able to be placed top by Bethany Lutheran.
And the thing is they go for this kill, they get a shutdown, and look across the map. They get a turret in top lane for Bethany, and there's not a wave here for Purdue. So they just wasted another 15 seconds where they can't actually push onto this turret and allow for Valley to really be that carry. They'll get a consolation prize of a Krugs here for Clam, and they'll finish the turret now, but they'll also lose out in mid lane. So Purdue feeling very desperate, need to try and get what they can on the map, but they're not quite setting up the plays before they happen. And now you'll start to see they'll get the turret eventually, but it's just these small things as Bethany continue to start to eke out advantages. And even Hunter's here. Clam saying, bye-bye, buddy. Hope they don't find you.
Oh, no. Onslaught of Shadows is going through. You're scaring Valley under your own tower. The rest of the team is here. Hollywood now looking for the shot, and it looks like Ikathan Rain is going to be the killer here. Wizardish picking up yet another one, currently sitting at 5-0-5. Has this player died? I think he died one time last game, maybe.
Yes, I think there's one death, but that's it. I mean, that would be. I'd have to go back. I'm pretty sure his KDA is going to be looking quite flawless after this series, if it continues to go in the direction that it is right now, and where Bethany ends up in a 2-0. But I really wanted to talk about. We've been talking about Wizardish and Galaxy, but for these carries to really succeed, their front line and some of the other players really have to be on board and really have be a part of it and be much more involved. And I really want to give out a shout out to Hollywood, who I'll hold that as potentially Galaxy. Okay, Galaxy, you're out. Okay, I could talk about Hollywood finally. I've been waiting to do this for the last two games. Hollywood, previously a mid laner, he swapped over support when asked, and while he was playing some enchanters and finding it a lot of fun, he immediately shot up in the ladder after doing so. They needed someone who can shot call, and he found that, hey, mid lane isn't quite the area that I can just, control the map, do the macro movements that I want to. So in the support position, I've been loving it, playing with him in general and just in normal games and some competitive settings, as well as this just for like Clash. He has been a fantastic leader in support, and over in Bethany, I think that it's done such wonders for them as they continue to look really, really strong in the series.
So Laura is going to wait.
No, man.
A hook shot from Valley to get over the wall, and then deciding, all right, I'm just gonna, so 2 blast cones down. Not just utilizing that to stay away from the fight, but also taking those blast cones away from Purdue while they're trying to push that top lane. In the meantime, Bethany Lutheran get themselves another Shelly charge here, and the first inhibitor tower. Clam is going to try to engage here. The root does land. Arch uses the ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. The TP come through on the backside. The ultimate from Tarek coming out. So Laura having to dash away from this.
Hollywood's here.
One member getting stunned down. The Hextech ultimatum coming through. Hero's entrance on the backside. Galaxy doing as much damage as possible on his front side, but goes down there to Clam. The root does land. Hollywood takes an obscene amount of damage here. Now Wizardish just trying to back away from this fight, but Clam moves forward. The re-engage there means that Wizardish is the only member left alive of Bethany Lutheran. Has a lot of damage, but these are chased down members with a hook shot and with a javelin. Wizard is flashing over the wall, just trying to waste the time here of the members of Purdue. Maybe pick up one if he can, but no, an ace there from Purdue and pressure onto this dragon.
Okay, there we go. Purdue finally able to punish. This was an incredibly greedy take. They don't have a lot of positioning. They got to push out in mid lane, but with Hollywood not here, Purdue say, okay, well, they can't really go for this. They are able to grab the turret because of the Rift Herald, and to get a final charge onto the inhibitor in the end there. But this Tarek ultimate, like we were saying in draft, just makes it so difficult for Bethany to do anything. And without some of their main engage, and with locking down Hunter so early on, they're able to find a really great team fight. This Galley ultimate just does so much to break up the back line. You see Solora's there, but you see Galaxy is there. It's not much. Wizardish can't find the positioning for this fight.
Galaxy was locked down the majority of that, so Galaxy ended up TPing into that fight and kind of being a little far on the backside. Gets a lot of damage down, but got locked down. I think it was maybe Tom Galio, and then instantly gets stunned up as well from that Tarek E. So to have somebody who's got so much damage get locked down that quickly, and again, really the AP damage that this team is kind of betting on in these fights, and it's just not quite enough. Granted, there's not really you're not looking at a ton of armor or anything being built on the other side, so it's not as though those AD players aren't dealing the damage necessary. They certainly want to get that mix in.
I mean, Camille does true damage. Let's just be real, right? She has the Ignite, she has the Q, she has Trinity Force as well as Titanic. Like, she's basically doing true damage in most of her combo.
Yes, she has, and that's certainly hurting. He's played the Hextech ultimatum is going to come out here, as well as Hero's entrance. Solara dismounts there and is not going to be able to pick up the kill on Valley thanks to that extra regen that she has got in her kit.
Okay, and that's a kill. Now. Yeah, it's even as right now Bethany trying to find this engage. Ultimate lands on a Nun.
The onslaught does not hit. The ultimate coming out from Tarek though means Hunter takes a lot of damage. Wizardish does find the kill on Arch, and a great hook there. Anchor by Hollywood ensures that they pick up 2 in this fight. A lot of ultimates down. That was 4 ultimates down during that fight. But this means that Bethany Lutheran is going to put their eyes onto this Baron. Clam is down for another 23 seconds.
Valley could make a TP here. They were waiting in base trying to finish off an item. They have Sterix available to them. They don't have their jungler. So Purdue, they're just going to try and give this up. I was wondering if they're going to try and make a pretty aggressive play on the Baron, try to blow up one member, as Valley just saying, hey, I see you on the ward. Don't necessarily maybe want to land the hook shot. It's going to be the Baron going over to Bethany. Wizardish, what's up without backing there, buddy? Is the mid wave that important? Can we see the gold? Is there any way that we could toggle the gold real quick? Because maybe he's waiting for a reset. Okay. I wanted to see if maybe there's a reset, because he is kind of ruining their tempo if they're not all able to reset on the same time. But maybe so he's trying to finish off an item. I think it's the Runons that he's trying to finish off. He does have triple daggers right now, so we'll see what item he picks. Could pick up PD. I've been a really big fan of PD just because this item is broken. Wizardish? Okay, thank God.
There it is. Yep.
All
It
right,
does
cool.
end up being, it does.
There
Yes,
you go.
PD, honestly, PD has been Phantom Dancer being PD, if you guys don't know the little acronym there. That item has been a staple for, honestly, high elo as a second item. Second item purchase has been huge for Phantom Dancer. We can see, obviously, the Collector was the pickup there, wanting to get the additional damage as much as possible. Given her kit, she has a lot of that long range to ensure a kill if you have Collector using either, Icathan Rain or the Void Seeker. But that Renan's is very helpful in terms of pushing lanes, and when it gets to be later on and you want to get a lot of pressure in, Renan's Hurricane is going to help you with that. So clearly Bethany Lutheran looking to have heavy engages to where they can push a lot onto Purdue. We'll see if they can make it work here.
Yeah, and right now, since we're on the topic of itemization, right? We're looking at Arch. He's kind of finishing up more of these items, going for the Mythicless as real. We've been seeing that there's a little bit of discussion as to what you want. I know that Duskblade was popular for a really long time. So far, over on Academy and doing the Proving Ground stuff, there has been a ton of Ezreals going for Leandries. I don't know if I would go with this game, but there's definitely a ton of champions that are building HP in this game, so there's an argument for it. It's been really fun to track. I wonder if you'll go for the Duskblade build just because it's cheaper. It's a larger power spike a little bit earlier on, but we're already almost 30 minutes into this game, and I think that finishing this third item for Arch is going to be really important for what he wants to do.
For sure, especially sitting 1-4-4, has had the creep advantage for the majority of the game here, but you're sitting across from Wizardish, who has been positioning so insanely well and is sitting at 6-1-6. So it's certainly a struggle to look across the board, see 3 items and the full boots completely finished when you are still working on your third there. And Purdue is forced to stay in their base. It's going to be a very quick pickup. Hunter and Wizardish, the only 2 players necessary. This is going to put them at soul point. I don't even know if we're going to get to that point, though, because of how oppressive Bethany Lutheran has been in a lot of these fights. They have been starting and engaging the majority of them now, which is not quite what we were seeing last game. They were sort of playing reactively, and this game is all proactive from Bethany Lutheran.
Yeah, and this is really one of the dangerous parts of when you start to lose all of those turrets, you lose access to this jungle, and especially with Colette on your team, it makes it that much more difficult to try and deal with him. They'll try to make this push onto this wave. The Baron has timed out, so they weren't able to get too much damage onto a lot of these turrets thanks to that early death that we saw, but if they're able to do this, right now, if you're Bethany, you should just be sitting up with a 1-3-1. You already have a Kali sitting in a side lane ready with TP. You have Solora on this Kled, who doesn't even need to really utilize that summoner spell. You can push in, maybe get the charge out from underneath. You can go for another wave. It looks like right now they're just trying to deathball around, go for the 4-1, push Purdue, and be kind of like bullies on the rift, saying, you're not allowed to walk here. We're going to take your jungle camps and slowly start to choke you out from this game in terms of gold.
That's right. They're just kind of assisting with this Galaxy push here. They're ensuring Galaxy will not be jumped on. If they try to make a move onto Galaxy, we will be there to interfere. So getting pressure in every single lane, especially having that Baron buff down, is helping them here. And this forces Purdue. This has kind of been wasted time from Purdue. They've kind of been navigating between each of these lanes. We can see Camille is trying to get some pressure down on that bottom lane, but Bethany Lutheran's totally fine with allowing them to focus on that bottom side and trying to put the pressure here on the top. Now, potentially looking for an engage again, just trying to support Galaxy here in pushing this top lane and breaking into the base in yet another lane. No inhibitors down just yet. It does look like they might go for something here.
Here we go.
The Javelin was avoided, and it's just going to be a disengage from Bethany Lutheran. Nothing more. You want to be able to move with your minions.
Yeah, right now, if I'm Bethany, actually, I would say that this is the onus is on them to end this game. They're going to go on to Galaxy, but Purdue have been farming. They've been able to kind of get a few more resources.
Ooh.
They're finding the engage.
They disengaged. Ooh, that means the ultimate is going to come out. That Hextech ultimatum. Solura dodging Arcane only because of the dismount. Out comes Onslaught of Shadows onto the backside. Arch is the next target here. Galaxy's using that
They
stop
can win
block
this.
here. A lot of
Purdue?
damage. on to Valley, but Wizardish is now going to be the next one caught out here, not stunned or locked down, but it is a 5v Wizardish and a clean ace for Purdue. Now that is going to be a lot of gray screen for Bethany Lutheran.
Yeah, Bethany, because of how much little range, we talked about this in draft, they are not able to siege onto turrets without looking for a fight. They need to go for the dive, and they haven't been able to do it. It's either they're scared of misexecuting because there's a Galio and a Camille that can slow it down. Same thing with the Taric ultimate. So Purdue have been biding their time. They've been picking up all these waves. They've been kind of getting funneled because of how early some of these objectives have fallen and taking out some of the members. This is the part of the 131 that I was looking for, is you could just have Kaisa show up at a moment's notice with a little bit of CC with the plasma, and she can end up being in those fights. You can create an uneven advantage, but taking them down, you see Wizardish is not able to be in this fight. Galaxy trying to put on damage, but it's only onto Valley. And look at how little time Galaxy's able to spend actually providing damage onto some of this backline. As Hollywood and Wizardish, they finally arrive. Hecarim's ultimate is ineffective in a lot of this fight, so Bethany Lutheran, pressure starting to mount. They had a large lead going into this, and they're starting to kind of bleed out on the map as they're continuing. The gold lead's finally in Purdue's favor.
It is. It's just about a K over, but also considering there was no Baron available, there was no Dragon, there was really, aside from some pressure, they were able to pick up 2 towers there in the mid side. Aside from, some additional pressure, they weren't actually really able to get that much. So yes, they have the gold advantage now due to those extra towers, but it's still 5 and 6. So that just kind of evened things out for them. And Bethany Lutheran, I mean, that was a tough one. We could see there that 3 members had moved down. I think it was Wizardish, Hollywood, and Hunter had moved down. Galaxies and Solora trying to do what they could there, and it just ended up being a perfect position for the fight for Purdue to engage on, to where the rest of the team couldn't get there as quickly as Purdue. And again, that's one of those things. If you're fighting in their jungle, they're going to get there first unless the team is prepared for this. So now they are looking to start out a fight here, but this Purdue team is moving as a 5-man crew. They are not going to allow any picks be made by Bethany Lutheran.
Yeah, so right now, Purdue, they have access to the mid wave first, so if they want, they can get mid priority. Their side lanes right now are not perfect, but they're going to look for the engage. This could be the final fight.
The Onslaught of Shadows coming out with the ultimate as well from the Taric. It sends Galaxies on the outside of this fight. Valley now is alone, though. Crypt trying to engage on this one. The stopwatch coming out. Galaxies doing the same thing on the other side. Valley jumps over the wall, and 3 members of Bethany Lutheran who were distracted for so long by this Camille don't even manage to get the pickup.
Awesome.
And in the meantime, Galaxies goes down on the backside. Purdue now are going to be able to pick up the second dragon of the game. No soul point for Bethany Lutheran. We see some pings coming out now to re-engage on this fight. Moving over towards Baron. Hollywood is very low. Crypt is looking for something here. Manages to get the taunt. And that is Hollywood almost going down there. Clam just going to barely be able to find that from the auto attack. Now switches focus over to Wizardish. Doesn't get stunned down. Has to flash away from this fight. But the pressure from Purdue is there. And that should be a very easy Baron for this team.
Yeah, right now, Bethany, they're feeling the pressure. They can't really go for these fights, and you saw right there, they're going to TP for this. Hunter is available. Galio is now TPing in behind them. Bethany, this is a Hail Mary play. This Baron is so necessary for Purdue.
We need it here. Hunter going to try to look for something over the wall.
Oh my God.
Any of the teammates? No way! The Baron is taken by Hunter. Totally okay with giving up his life on that one, jumping over the wall with the Onslaught of Shadows, and he steals it. What is with this Bethany Lutheran team and steals? It has been amazing.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is the fight that we were talking about earlier, right? We got to take a look a little bit about this. The role that Valley plays in this fight is so crucial. You see that not only does this ultimate land onto multiple members for the Taric, it is so awesome at just stopping the damage, but then they stop Wizardish from being able to put any damage out on the backline. So it is just Solora and Galaxy who enter this fight with sub 40% HP health. So does a fantastic job, lives the ultimate on the Wizardish as well as the stopwatch, just delays so much time. And then we see here, chasing out the bot lane, making it so that their resets are not on time and they're not available for this Baron fight. Makes it so difficult, but a few skip steps coming out from Purdue mean a Baron is stolen. I want to say, awesome that they stole it there. We get to maybe get the slowdown to see how little HP it was. So 2,000,
And
800, 400.
Thank goodness for that blue trinket as well, because I think if it wasn't for that onslaught of shadows wouldn't have gotten over the tower over the wall with enough time for that smite to actually hit to be able to see that Baron. So that blue trinket working out very, very well for Bethany Lutheran. They've almost caught back up again in gold. We're at almost 34 minutes in this game, a lot longer than we were anticipating, especially given how much pressure Bethany Lutheran had early on. But again, this team, Purdue, knows how to play from behind. Laura getting caught out here. Out comes the Hextech Ultimatum, still alive on the backside.
Watch Wizard is.
Damage. There is the Onslaught of Shadows, the ultimate just hitting flawed logic in this one. The barrage is going to hit several members. Galaxies gets exhausted here, and this team is too split up. Galaxy's trying to do as much damage. Look at Clams. Zonia's right there and almost no help. Galaxy just trying to get away, but you were running into the enemy side jungle. They're gonna allow it and put pressure down in the mid side so they can break into this base.
Oh man, the Baron was just there to try and buy them 2 minutes in the game, try and find their footing inside of this game. But this could be the death push. They have so much HP available to them. The Baron there for Galaxy is gonna try and make the base defense of the lifetime. He has 10 seconds. All he has to do is wait for Kled to respawn. As Galaxies, he's here. Oh no.
The clean ace, though, means that Purdue is going to be able to pick this one up unless Hollywood can do something absolutely magical here. That will be it. We are going to see a game 3, and you know what? That means that OG Pickle is the closest to being correct here. We were expecting a 2-0 sweep. I can't believe that. I feel like Collimers probably feeling a little rough on that one, especially given
Collimer's mental's already gone from game 1. He's like, guys, please just listen to me. The game completely turned on its head as soon as we got to that the inhibitor dive on bot lane. As soon as we saw that Purdue able to turn that is when the game started to feel the lead anyway from Bethany started to slip away a little bit. Value is such a huge team fighter in a lot of this game, and honestly, impressive job from Purdue. They hold out, they kind of execute to what their composition wants to do. And coming out from Bethany, that has got to feel pretty bad. You have a massively fed jungler, you have a massively fed Wizardish yet again on Kaisa. You're just not quite able to kind of break open the game. It felt like slowly more and more the game was taken over by Purdue, and they're trying to make small picks. They're making a few too many mistakes, and that's what I saw from last game. That was like, okay, if you play against a better team, potentially that's a loss condition. But we're seeing here Purdue are able to finally kind of punish on that.
Finally punish. And again, I mean, I've said it so many times, this team can play from behind. It has been so back and forth. And that one, I mean, the first game, you had a lot of exactly that, back and forth. The gold lead passing between those teams' hands consistently until we got really to the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. This one, it seemed like Bethany Lutheran had the advantage majority of the time. Yep. And Purdue was down 4 or 5K. It didn't matter because they were able to find these successful fights. And even when Bethany Lutheran made it so that Purdue couldn't get a ton off of the fights, like I mentioned, that play before the Baron where there was no Baron, there was no Dragon, it was an ace over for Purdue, but it didn't matter. Even without those objectives, they were able to take what they needed to, they were able to move as a team, and that was what really helped them out in the long run is their engagement on these fights. They were able to split up Bethany Lutheran so well that even Wizardish and the great damage that was coming from Galaxy wasn't helpful.
Yeah, I think they kind of played away from what their comp wanted to do on the side of Bethany. So we'll have to see what happens in the adaptations coming into game 3 as Purdue take us to match point in the series.
And it is going to be a good one here. You and I were both expecting a 2-0. After that last match, I didn't, change anything because it still felt like Bethany Lutheran had the control. Granted, that first game was also a tough composition for Purdue. We said it before this match that these compositions are much better, that Purdue had a lot more opportunity, that if they do fall behind, they can recover in the later game. And we just saw it right there. I wouldn't be surprised if Clam had this Nidalee banned away from him for the next game. That has been a first pick for them for, each of these games now. And it has clearly worked out incredibly well for the team of Purdue. A lot of early game focus that this Nidalee is allowed to place pressure for. and it ends up working out. All longer games than we were expecting, and I'm sure Fricky's not stoked that his prediction didn't come through, even though he was a little he said about 25-minute games. We've seen 30, 35-minute games now, and I mean, I don't know. Do you still think this is going to go the way of Bethany Lutheran now that we're at match point? What are you thinking, Alec?
Man, I want to give it to the Bethany boys. I got a few friends over on the staff, and obviously knowing some of the players, but I don't know. They're kind of getting caught out on some of their their predilections of wanting to be a little bit more dangerous. So I still hold out for Purdue. They said they like being that back pocket. They like playing from behind. And they like being that dark horse. I wonder if, the narrative buff is a little too strong.
You got to shut down Valley on something like that. That was a losing matchup. That was the Cled was picked into the Camille, and not once did Cled have the advantage in that lane. A lot of that having to do with Clam showing up early and keeping a lot of pressure, and there was just no real responding pressure. I think maybe a little bit more control in the jungle. As much as I love the Hecarim for the kind of play style that Bethany Lutheran sticks with, I liked the Volibear a little bit better, just in the sense of, additional crowd control, a little bit extra damage, and that ability to just get into lane very early. So we're going to take a breather. We're going to take a break. We are going to be going into game number 3. Bethany Lutheran took game number 1. Purdue stole away game number 2. So this is going to be the big game that we get into. Yep. Give us just a moment. Go grab your drinks, grab your snacks, and get ready for an absolute knockdown drag 'em out here in the eFuse Collegiate show match between Purdue and Bethany Lutheran. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Alrighty, we are getting back into it. Thank you guys for sticking around here. We're getting into match point game number 3 between Purdue and Bethany Lutheran. We called a 2-0. Alec and I both called a 2-0.
Yep.
Pickle changed his mind, and he ended up actually, potentially screwing us by saying Purdue was gonna take it with a 2-1. Feels like Bethany Lutheran is kind of allowing Purdue to see their hand, I guess, see their hand in advance, and very quickly and easily navigate around that. So great job to Purdue from, consistently playing from behind and finding these successful fights. Bethany Lutheran needs to kind of pick it up, especially with all the 2-0 calls that they were making earlier.
Yeah, hey, we got lost in it too. Like, it is also on us, Jolly, to, we got lost a little bit in the sauce there. It happens. But I want to be, I want to give Purdue credit. Even when they're behind, they understand what their win condition is. They say, hey,
Purdue.
Oh my God, Jolly, please!
All right, I'm out. See you guys.
I was gonna say, I thought with Pickle gone, we would get rid of these jokes, but
nah.
it is completely, taken over a lot of the eFuse desk. They play to their win conditions, right? They're saying, okay, we're playing around Valley, we're playing around this engage, and they executed really well. They weren't able to quite get to that moment in game 1, but game 2, they did it excellently, and they were kind of able to take control of Bethany's madness. So coming into game 3, looking forward to see how both teams adapt. Do Purdue continue to kind of stick to this idea of, hey, let's play around topside, let's see what we can do there? And for Bethany, how do they rein in their players? How do a lot of the, a lot of the older members, like someone like Galaxy or Hollywood, kind of take control of the team, take the reins and say, hey, follow my lead. Let's take this game slowly and try to, execute where we know we can succeed.
They're able to do that. Like I said in the last one, I'm not sure if I was the biggest fan of the Hecarim pick, though I know he's really strong. I liked the composition, but there is no ban here on the Nidalee, so it was a Hecarim ban there. Purdue does have the first pick here. We'll see if they stick with that or if they decide to pick someone else here. I mean, you've got the Udyr and the Hecarim banned out. Those are two of the really big ones right now in terms of just power and being able to get across the map and do what is necessary. I can imagine that Hunter would actually excel on that. And this time, they gave up the Lucian ban. Lucian was one of the first bans that Bethany Lutheran put in last time, and they traded that one out for the Hecarim. It looks like Kaisa and Rel. There it is. I was going to say Rel was banned out also by Bethany Lutheran, who ran the Rel in that first game, but now being on the red side, being able to lock in the Kaisa and the Rel, exact same as that first game. So things are looking good for them.
I'm about to ask Joe if this is just a rerun of the draft, if we're just rerunning game 1 draft with different numbers on the top, maybe. We'll see what clan picks. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another, but this means...
Really?
Yeah, this is interesting, because now Flawed Logic with the Braum, this means that more than likely, I mean, Lucian can still go bot lane if Arch wants to take it, but I think it heavily indexes on that. And now Purdue think they're going to try and lock in their junglers, see what they can pick. Maybe you go for the Nidalee. This is definitely something new that we'll see here.
I'm kind of surprised at the Braum. I absolutely love Braum. Concussive Blows is huge. His passive is one of the greatest passives in terms of supports. And I absolutely adore his kit. He's just not incredibly strong, and it's really, really tough early game for a Braum. You can tell that they picked it into this rel in the hopes and the anticipation that Flawed Logic will be able to jump on whoever might be engaged upon and soak up a lot of that damage, throw up the shield, and prevent Wizardish from dealing the damage that will want to be dealt there. But it's going to be a hard early game, and we see the Lilia locked in, actually. So jungle, earlier pick here for Purdue.
Yes!
And there's the Nocturne. Now where is this? Is this jungle or is this our mid lane? Is this a flex pick here?
It's a flex pick. It could be jungle, it could be top lane, it could be mid lane. Bethany just need to get rid of a lot of the harder matchups. So I mean, if you want to pick Scion for Purdue, Solora will just take the Nocturne. If they want to try and pick this, it's just such a really good pick for Lilia. It also means that since it's a little bit earlier on in the draft, Purdue can still pivot. They can go for a little bit of these tanky members, make it so, hey, if you're going to dive onto a Lucian or a Lilia, we can have an answer to it. You can maybe stop out on the dives. There are a ton of answers here that Purdue can go for. It also means that mid lane is very susceptible if they're not going to pick the Lucian for it. Any control mages are going to have a very hard time playing against Nocturne mid lane.
Now the final band's coming out. We can see the Renekton band out there. So it is possible that they're looking towards that top side here. But there's a lot of opportunity. The Ezreal is going to be banned out. Arch playing a very, very good Ezreal last time. Didn't end up excelling so far in the lane as they probably would have anticipated there, but that is A-okay. Arch has had exceptional positioning as well as Wizardish in these matchups. The last one is going to be that Sylas ban away from Purdue taking that Sylas away. The Akali also banned out. So a few respect bans coming here from both teams so far.
Yeah, a couple of interesting champions. I think Xayah is still really weird that it hasn't been prioed, right? Like, you have such great ability, and since you know that Bethany are going to just kind of index a lot more on dives, and with Camille here, Xayah priority slowly rising. Come on, guys, the stocks are there. You want to invest early on. Arch can pick it up here and would do A-okay. Still has great synergy with Braum for the 2v2 if they want, so really fun there. I will say that there needs to be some kind of strong top laner, specifically an AD one. So taking away stuff like the Renekton is great, but Malphite there means we're going in, boys. We're stopping the dive and we're going to hit you with the unstoppable under the turret. That's super good, especially how much attack damage. Did you see all this AD from Bethany? Love this Malphite pickup for Purdue.
And more tank as well. Tank engaged too. So Malphite being exceptional engaged, especially later on. And really with some of Valley's positioning too, and going in far, being able to escape and get out or assist the team on the back end of a fight has been helpful. The Azir lock in. And now we can see where Bethany Lutheran is deciding to throw this Nocturne, whether it is for Hunter or Galaxy there in the mid lane, since they have their matchups available. Azir's going to make things tough, though.
It's going to be dangerous. The queen herself, Orianna, is still available. It would be a tough ask.
Ooh.
Oh, no, I cursed this last game. I should not have said Akali Galio is Azir Corki. Oh, why did they do this to me? Okay, we've got the most fun mid matchup. Definitely a tested one that we've seen for a while, but fifth pick Corki here for Bethany.
Fifth pick Corki here. And I wasn't expecting the Corki. You don't see the Corki a ton.
Yeah.
However, Galaxy has been able to do some incredible things in this mid lane. Whether behind or ahead, whether there's interference from Clam or Hunter. It seems like a lot of the ganks that have been towards the mid lane have been done by Clam. It's kind of just been a little bit of a fight between Galaxy and Crip until it gets to the later part of the game, until a few towers come down and you're at that team fight stage. So I have the faith that they picked this Corki for a reason. Obviously, that mid lane is going to be a fun one to watch. That's probably their idea, but I don't think it fits the rest of the team incredibly well. I can see their matchup potential in there. But you've got a lot of mobility. All right. So maybe it does. They're adding in.
I don't know. There's a Malphite, Jolly. There's a whole mountain sitting in top lane for Valley. It's like so it's good for the poke, right? You do a little bit of poke damage. You got great ways to interact with some of this team, specifically against Lilia. Doesn't necessarily have to kind of agree with the engage from Bethany, as he can stay from a really long range, especially with RFC second. But man, oh man, this into Malphite, so dangerous.
It is. That is a tough matchup right there. We are setting things up right now. We've got to rerun through this. We are using Pro Draft, so they've got to run it back through in the client. I think we're actually, you know what? Let's we're going to take a quick couple-minute break.
There you go.
You guys stick around. Don't go anywhere. We are going to be getting into this game number 3 with this draft composition for both of these teams, Purdue versus Bethany Lutheran. Match point. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. We are back. Thank you guys for sticking around. I got a bit of glare here. Don't worry about that. If I can't see, it doesn't matter.
It's the God rays.
Right?
It's the God rays coming down.
It is. I know. Right? It's shining its countenance upon me. I do hear the games. We are going to be heading directly into that very, very soon. We've had a lot of focus towards the top side for these jungles. Are you expecting the same thing coming into this next one, Alk?
Well, one team has a Malphite, so I expect them not to have to play around their Malphite, thankfully.
Yeah, right.
And it is it is Malphite Camille. You can do there's a little bit of outplay there, potential, but I mean, you literally just have to scale if you're on the side of Purdue. Like you just scale into these team fights, and then as soon as any one member of Bethany makes a mistake, or if they ever clump up together, it is so dangerous to try and go for fights, especially once you have so many of these squishy members on your side. So I think Bethany kind of put themselves in a little bit of a hole. And on the opposite side here for Purdue, this is looking good. You're looking to take game 3.
Certainly. However, we know Bethany Lutheran likes to have a bit of fun. Maybe it was just a little too much fun. during that last game. We've got the Camille now picked up. Last game, it was actually played by Valley, who did a really incredible job. We can see right now Hollywood is aware of 5 members of Purdue down here on the bottom side. Not going to move forward there, but I mean, yeah, I like Purdue's comp a lot more. Again, these guys know how to play from behind. We're going to have to see, though. We haven't really seen them start off in an incredibly strong manner. So I'm curious if they do start out well, how they move forward with, victorious fights and with the early game advantage. I'd be curious to see if they manage to get that, of course, and how they move forward. Because so far we've kind of seen them mostly play from behind, and it's worked out very well for them. And I mean, in the end, poorly for Bethany Lutheran every time.
Yep. They understand their win condition. They say, hey, it's okay. We can be behind early game. They were still making early game plays. They were just trading it to topside, right? They're allowing Valley to be that carry. And then you have Kerp, who's just dropping lane, moving out against the Sakali. So different set of circumstances here. You have Kerp on a much more standard teamfight mage. You have this Lilia who has Predator, which is a little bit of a different change for those at home who don't know. This is just simply for, once we get to the River Scuttles, as Arch taking a little bit of an early trade, Hollywood making use of the the crashdown shield that you get on the set on the rel, but this Predator for Clam just means that as soon as we get further into the game, it makes it so much easier for Lilia to kind of move around the river and be incredibly fast and kind of show up to lanes maybe a little bit faster than some would expect.
And that's what Clam likes to do. As we know, we saw him on the Nidalee 2 times before. There we can see Solaric is going to use that hook shot, that level 2 advantage to get some extra damage, burn at least one of those corrupting potions that Valley has in his pocket here. And no surprise that Kerp is going to be getting some extra early game damage with those soldiers in this mid lane. So it's going to be a lot of damage going down already between these players. That means that by the time the jungles decide to interfere, it's going to be relatively easy for them to choose where they want to make their move.
Yeah, both of them playing towards the bot side right now. And for Clam, he just needs to farm, get to 6 as soon as possible, play this very safe, and make sure that not only is he getting kind of some early priority from Kerp, but also the bot lane is moving over to try and assist, because any time that Hunter wants to move and play aggressive, they can, as Braum getting engaged upon, going to take a little bit of a trade between the 2 supports, as Richardus does get hit up by the Winter's bite from Flawed, but man...
I'm digging this chroma. I'm digging this flawed logic.
It's pretty nice.
Dragon Slayer chroma. These honestly, all of the chromas for that skin are pretty exceptional. I'd run the white one actually, but it does look like Clam maybe trying to move in for something here. Nothing is going to come of it though. We saw a little swirled seed go out. Nobody's hit, but eyes are on Clam. So Bethany Lutheran is aware that this Lilia is on the bottom side of the map.
Took a little bit of a speed bump there when it came to tempo, because he had just built up all of this from farming his entire jungle, and then he was like, okay, maybe I want to spend it on a gank, maybe try to go for something. He doesn't find anything, loses the scuttle there, and while Hunter doesn't take a little bit of a pitch, kind of a break, as he doesn't do his blue buff, he goes immediately to doing the scuttle, then does this. This camera's so awesome. Thank you, Joe. Everybody in production doing a fantastic job.
He's so pretty. Oh, you can see Crypt there is going in. The W coming out from Galaxy. There is a Lilia in the wings, but she's not going to be able to move quickly enough. The Swirl Seed, not going to hit anything there. So a recall from Lilia is in the works here. And just a bit of a reset in the mid lane in general. That TP will be utilized.
Jolly, I think this is the quietest early game we've had all series, and it feels a little jarring, honestly. I'm feeling that the caffeine crash has come in maybe for some of the players.
All right, so we did hear, I think this was a little bit of insight from Collimer on Bethany Lutheran, that best of 3s, they dominate. When it comes to a best of 5, the team gets a little tired, and they tend to not do as well in best of 5 games. Granted, I guess if you're going to win a best of 5, 3-0, then you're only looking at the 3 games anyway.
There you go.
This is the final game between these guys, and we do know that they get a little bit fatigued. So hopefully that is not the case with this team. They are currently ahead on gold, and it has been a very conservative game so far.
the players just get a little loopy. You know, Wizardish needs his nap after dominating bot lane so many games in a row. Sure, Galaxy feels the same way. Hunter's not level 6, but they're looking for this bot lane trade, and Clam here as well. Predator activated. Let's see what happens. Purdue.
Ooh, the flash away, and the flash in from Clam. Wizardish taking a bit of damage. The concussive blows is going to hit Hollywood, but first blood goes over to Hunter. Now Clam is the next target here. A lot of damage to be dealt, but Flawed Logic with the fantastic shield there is going to prevent that extra hit to land. That means that the rest of Bethany Lutheran has to back away, but a 1-for-0 is a successful fight.
Awesome job right there, and really nice job from the side of Bethany to try and push for that kill, because I think that there's a very likely situation where Purdue get a bunch of kills and Clam is able to execute maybe if he had just a little bit more damage used there, just maybe 5 seconds earlier. But Hunter kind of wasting. He's saying, hey, I need to get onto the map. I need to at least find a kill, trying to be aggressive. I'm sure that the Bethany bot lane are calling for that. They're saying, look, we can kill this guy right now. If you come, we immediately find one of these guys. We'll even get the replay here, man. Oh, Jolly, walk me through this, man. This is just so close, especially trying to find this onto Arch.
Really was, and the flash over there by Clam to re-engage and send Wizardish away, because we can see right there that Swirl Seed do a little bit of a burst. Hollywood comes in though, and there it is. The damage from Hunter ends up working very well. Clam keeps going back and trying to do as much damage as possible. It's just not enough, and honestly, it was that nice burst from Hunter there at the end that allowed that first blood to be picked up, but that's going to put them at 1k gold over. And while they are leading in majority of lanes, it seems like this top lane is working out very well. In particular, 39 to 55 creep. Now we'll see if Solura decides to actually engage on this one, or just going to keep pressure on the lane. Yeah, it is such a conservative game right now. That's what we're seeing from all 10 players, to be honest.
Oh, man. Also, important to note, these are small micro things because we have a little bit of time here. Arch still has the exhaust from that last fight, and I just want to say, maybe if Clam doesn't use TP to try to get into this, I'll hold that as Hunter has the ultimate, and they're going in on the bot lane.
And there it is, Paranoia coming out, the exhaust onto Hunter. That is Arch very, very low, though. They are looking for the kill. Wizardish flashing forward, using the Icathan Rain to pick that one up. 1-0-1 Wizardish, and this is not the person that you want to have any kill advantage on, because Wizardish is, I mean, so far has got to be my MVP, just based on insane positioning and I mean, in anything and everything. You normally have players who are exceptional at positioning in team fights or in lane. It's generally not so well done in both, and I cannot find a chink in the armor here.
Yeah, he's looking for really good. He has played Kai'Sa 3 games, so I think it's a little bit easier to do that when you have a champion that has an invisibility spell, has an ultimate that allows you to do this. So taking a look, Bethany kind of in a dangerous position for Galaxy, has to use the package to get out of the Rift Pit, the Rift Scuttle Pit, and in the meantime, they're going to trade that for the Dragon. So splitting open cross map, trying to get something on the opposite map here, on the opposite side for Purdue, as Galaxy will have access to this mid lane first. I find this really interesting because obviously getting your Camille or getting your Malphite to have priority over Camille, I think is a tough ask in a lot of matchups. So good job from Valley, and Clam setting his top laner up to allow him to do that.
That certainly helps with that creep score differential as well. Still a 2k lead, though, in Bethany Lutheran's favor. We've got creep advantage in every single lane right now, except for mid, where it is currently tied up. Hunter got out there by Flawed Logic.
There you go.
And burning the sweeper there just to take down that one ward. And look at that. Galaxy W's in and just takes a lot of damage here. Wizardish does have concussive blows, but Arch is focused down here. Hollywood picks up that kill with the Ignite. Flawed Logic now alone, and the pressure remains on the bottom side for Bethany Lutheran as Hunter potentially looks to follow this one up. Paranoia is available here. Ooh, he's got to know that recall is happening in the bush, but he doesn't actually want to go through with that.
Yeah, he doesn't know who's on the opposite side of that, right? He doesn't know if Clam is there, ready to back them up. He has the Predator, so they'll get a few more plates. Obviously, with the Rift Shield going down, there shouldn't be the turret going, but this bot lane right now is starting to backfire as Clam trying to chase out, trying to just force Bethany away from this turret after this wave. The bot lane here, they picked it so early on, right? They first picked the Lucian, and they picked the Braum immediately. They're going to go on Rel. I don't know how much this is going to do. That is just a Lilia sleep down, potentially find onto Wizardish.
Wizardish trying to re-engage on this one. The Coley's going to come out. That won't be enough. Paranoia coming through. But no, Arch stays alive in single-digit health. Wow, Purdue making a 2-0 out of that one.
Oh, Bethany, I was going to say, wow, you get so many resources out from the side of Purdue, but they overstep saying, hey, let's just try and turn this. Wizardish has to use both the Holt and still ends up going down. They're going to find this onto Galaxy's. Clam is here. Flash out from the Corki.
Comes through from Crip, but flash from Corki just in time before Clam engages. It looks like Shelly is going to be dropped here in the mid lane. Still 3 minutes left for this turret plating to be up. That means Hunter's going to help at least get a little bit of responding pressure, as Clam has spent so much time in the lane here. Clam now is gonna take a lot of damage. You can see the soldiers coming through. Galaxy going to pick up the kill there.
That CP from Malphite.
Hunter ends up getting ulted there. The Unstoppable Force still stays alive with the concussive blows.
Oh my god.
The heal from Wizardish to save Hunter on that fight. A double kill, a triple kill going over to Galaxy in that split fight. This is Bethany's control.
What just happened there? The ultimate lands, they're just barely able to get this. And this is just really great resets coming out from the side of Bethany. You see their support immediately walks mid lane off of this reset. And we'll watch it again right here. The TP coming in onto this Rift Herald just means that they're able to finally get Malphite. He's crashing a wave in top lane. You saw they actually reset, but immediately Purdue say, we can find this. We can find this kill onto Hunter. Maybe it's something. We get to see it here. Knock up. He gets the concussive blows with the auto reset on the W, and it's so close. 10 HP! 10 HP! The heal!
It is the heal, yep. It was that heal from Wizardish that kept him alive, and then they turned it around. A triple kill there for Galaxy. And
the Triumph, man. Like, what?
And the Triumph 3-0 no way Valley there. You're just barely letting Solera get away, but that is A-okay. A lot of plates having gone down here. No towers down yet, but the fact that so many plates have gone down with still over a minute left on that means that we're likely going to see some more pressure until the last possible moment here. Hunter and Hollywood now trying to set up for the Dragon.
Yeah, it's 4,000 gold for Bethany, and with 30 seconds on the Drake, you have to imagine that they would probably get it. There's no TP here for Valley. There's no ultimate. It will be up in time, but I imagine Purdue, they're just going to give this up and look for something across the map. Maybe start to set up for another Rift Herald spawning in the next few moments. Right now, if you're Bethany, you're feeling really good, but Purdue can still stick to their game plan, can still stick to this game plan of wanting to try and farm, try to get to that point. You see they're even setting up for top lane, trying to set up for a potential dive. This is getting a little bit dangerous. I think Bethany still need to move the pace forward, need to up the tempo of the game if they want to try and find a win in this game 3.
And they're sincerely working on this, though that gold differential won't stay high unless you continue to gather objectives or focus on fights. They are going to move in on this Infernal Dragon. A few pings coming out that Lilia might be making her way down. But a lot of deep vision means that Bethany Lutheran is comfortable here. Flawed Logic with another great shield to prevent Wizardish's Ikithan Rain from actually landing there. And that will be a solo dragon picked up by Hunter for Bethany Lutheran.
Yep, able to move back. We'll also take this. I will say, right now with how the map is kind of just being opened up for Purdue, and they're focusing on bot side for Bethany, a lot of this, when you look at Lilia, a lot of successful Lilias will try to prioritize taking as many of these raptor camps from the enemy jungler as possible. And so far, we've only seen Clam take one. So with it still up, could make it over. They do have a ward over on that side, so they know the top side is open, and that Nocturne is probably not there, especially after doing the Drake already. I think this is a really key thing for Purdue. If they can take control of this, this mini objective in the jungle camp, you can start to set up Clam, and specifically Kerp and Valley, for a lot of success.
Look at just the vision that's spread across, though. The deep vision that Bethany Lutheran has been able to place there, especially on the bottom side of the jungle, but even the top side.
Oh, they stop it.
There we can see Flawed Logic will end up going, Hollywood will end up going in. Wizardish picks up that kill. Flawed Logic gets the ignite as well. Will they try to follow this one up? Wizardish does use the flash, but the kill goes over to Hollywood. That's 2 kills. Now Valley and Solura up on the top
you can't
side.
do this.
Unstoppable Force comes through. Clam is there. Out comes the Hextech Ultimatum, but will not be enough as Clam picks up that kill, and Hunter has to move to the top side to prevent pressure.
Solura, you can't 1v1 the Malphite. The day has gone by. You can't do this. It is no longer possible. The window has disappeared. And because of that, you see Clam, Hunter was doing his red buff and now will lose access to some of these camps. If they want, maybe try to get a TP out from one of your members. Galaxy is pushing into mid lane. Clam will get feared away. Just going to take a few more camps, but they're losing more and more across the map on the side of Purdue after that top lane play. And especially because bot lane is collapsing so hard, this is the potential for Bethany. Play to your bot side. Wizardish and Hollywood able to find that 2v2 between them. I think now that this bot lane has been opened up, we'll have to see where Hollywood and them start to move across the map and try to move their gold lead.
That has been huge for both Flawed Logic, but in particular Hollywood. In terms of rotations, very early rotations, Hollywood has been very good about that and has been really focusing on getting some deep vision, participating where it might be necessary. We can see some of the wards placed down. And again, just look at this mini-map and the deep vision that Bethany Lutheran has had so that they can play as aggressively as possible. We can see Hunter and Hollywood potentially moving up here. Solura taking a bit of damage from Valley, but we know that Flawed Logic is in that tri-bush and ready to continue the engage. No actual moves here. It looks like instead they're going to move in on the Rift Herald. There we go. Hollywood and Wizardish to help out with this.
Yeah, good job. They just pushed in the top wave. I think it'd be really ill-advised if they go for this. Galaxy, he's just trying to fight the enemy jungler. He's like, please, you're not taking this Grump away from him. Clam says, yes, I am. You're not going to be able to stop me. I have this really cool summoner spell that lets me smite. Sadly, I don't have a TP, but again, splitting open the map. Bethany and Purdue sticking to the game plan of saying our bot lane's going to stay ahead. We're going to give them resources with this Rift Herald, especially with mid lane going down. Makes it so much more difficult for someone like Azir to stay there and defend. That
double swap there. It is going to give them a lot of damage on this tower. Now, Valley might be solo caught out here. The Unstoppable Force used on the backside. Hextech Ultimatum there to follow the Glacial Fissure from Hollywood as well. Wizardish will take down Valley, and Flawed Logic will be forced out of this fight. But that is another tower down there. 3-0 for Bethany. They have pressure in every single lane.
Yes, they do, and you see right now they're just trying to force for this one more wave. Like, Galaxy's here. He is going to get with the sleep finally, so let's see it.
Galaxy has been trying so darn hard to prevent Clam from stealing things from this allied jungle. You can see there the blue reset. So it is not going to be stolen by Clam, and it will just be a recall disengage. So at least Galaxy feels happy and can say, hey, Hunter, I saved your blue buff. It is still there, and I am still alive.
Jolly, I think we can really tell that this is a much slower game than the last two, that we're getting excited about Galaxy stopping.
I know, right?
Steal. It's great. I mean, they're playing slower.
We had a pentakill game one.
I know, and it's been, at least in terms of game speed, it has slowly declined, but, you know, the hype is still there. Bethany are, you know, they're playing to their win conditions. Same thing with Purdue. 20 seconds before this Drake starts, and it would put them at soul point. Purdue, they have a couple of options. Are they going to go for this team fight? We'll see this here. It does mean that there is no sleep. Yeah, there we go. We get to see a little bit of this fun. The battle of the blue buff begins, as it'll be a stalemate for now. We'll get a continuation. We'll get the sequel after this dragon fight.
You know, I just can't also get over, again, I keep bringing it up, but Bethany's vision has been massive. That is why Hunter isn't going incredibly deep. This is why Hunter ends up being successful in a lot of these engages or re-engages, because they have the vision. So it is not blind like it has been in the past here. Now we can see that ultimate as well. Hextech Ultimatum coming out from Solura to try to stop this pressure in the top lane. It will save the tower, but there's still pings coming out. That might be a focus for them. Nope, they are going to move down.
Yeah, interesting that Flawed Logic is here, considering, you know, you have so many of your members sitting in mid lane. You also have Kerp sitting in bot lane trying to defend this bot turret. They do have a Rift Herald here. It's about 60% of the timer already here for Hunter, so probably going to be seeing it shift into mid lane. But if you're this Braum right now, you need to be moving with either Clam or moving with Arch to try and secure vision in the river. They did it a little bit ago, and you can see it now that their top side is set up for this Baron. But because now they have to reset and they can't really defend this, a lot of that vision's about to go dark in a few moments as Bethany start to move in and clear it out.
And only so much you can place, or only so much you can sweep away when Bethany has really just layered your entire jungle. Again, the bottom side being their priority for that one. Ooh, that is going to be a...
Oh, come on.
Wow, that was not a stopped recall, Arch. I thought I had gotten that with the W, but nope. It was just in time there. And yes, you can see, so not all the vision was cleared out there. There were a few wards that were placed by Bethany Lutheran, including the more defensive one on the bottom side of that early river bush towards Baron. So still some vision that has stayed alive by Purdue. Will it help, though, as it is a 6K gold lead still in Bethany Lutheran's favor? They're up 6 kills and 2 towers right now, also on Dragon Soul Point. So that makes things really tough for Purdue once that next Dragon decides to spawn.
Yeah, the ultimate cooldown reduction is really only relevant on people like Hollywood and Hunter, because not only having the Magnet Stone much more quicker, they're also going to be moving that much faster when they ultimate. But again, they cleared out the vision, and now Purdue going to have to walk in blind. They have the Oracles here. They're calling in TP from Kerp. Watch the team fight. Valley's on the flank here.
In comes Paranoia on the backside. That is a Zonia's coming out. The culling on to Solura, who absorbs the majority of that stun down and gets hit by the unstoppable force on the backside. Now Kerp trying to do as much damage to Hollywood as possible here. Wizardish is still alive, but Valley is on the front side of this. Galaxy manages to pick up a double kill here, and now Valley is pinched between Wizardish and Galaxy. That is a lot of damage to be had. They get in range, and the Void Seeker will be enough to pick up the kill there. Clam stealing some health, using the smite to get that Scuttle Crab, at least staying alive in that sense. But a Baron disconnect was Purdue's goal, and they were successful.
Man, Nocturne is so good against these teams, especially against something like a Malphite, where you turn off the lights and Malphite's like, guys, where am I ulting? I can't see anything. I can't see any champions. The fight does take a really long time before any of the members. And this is actually a really good fight for Purdue, because you look at this, you're saying, okay, we're cut off. It starts off very good for Bethany, but they take so long, especially because of this stasis coming out from Clam. They're not able to find any of the executes, but Galaxy comes up huge for his team. He's able to find those kills and start to turn it in the favor of Bethany Lutheran.
Yeah, gets a flash out. Does pick up that double, and it ends up being a 2 for 2 in the overall there. So both teams feeling all right now. Kerp in a bad position.
Nice.
Out comes the Emperor's Divide, but Paranoia is gonna follow it up. So Hunter picks up that kill. Wizardish also on the bottom side, and we can see that split is going to adjust here as Solura cannot push this top lane on his own. Now Clam is spotted out, but against Solura, honestly cannot do a lot. Has finally, does have the Tiamat as well as the Triforce here, but is sitting at 0-2-2 and is in a rough matchup against Valley. So just gonna have to watch the tower go down.
Aw, it's sad. You get to see the turret fall down. You're saying, okay, guys, the jungler's here. You're gonna need your camp. Fine, take it. I'll lose my turret. Can hold away for a little bit longer. But Kerp going down there, in the grand scheme of things, just means that it's going to be that much harder for Purdue to try and get vision and access to the bot side. We'll just now respawn, but with 30 seconds, and with Purdue not making any movements so far, they're going to be entering this vision. They're going to be entering this river a little bit blind without a lot of setup. Valley is already waiting, kind of waiting with TP. I wonder. Okay, so they now has entered into this. Now they're just gonna have to death push into mid lane. They are going to have to either take this turret or walk in as 5, like we see now, and try to establish some kind of control. But there's a package here for Gorky, and Solura waiting with TP could try and find a flank from that pink over in the Raptor pit.
Purdue cannot allow this dragon to go down without a fight. It is Soul Point here for Bethany Lutheran. Paranoia gonna come out. The stun there. The Emperor's Divide to push Hunter back, but that means Valley is the next target. And
oh my god, Galaxy
finds out the remaining members, including Clam, who goes down so very quickly. And that Emperor's Divide worked out very well for Bethany's mid lane.
There you go, and they'll get the Cloud Soul. They'll move over to grab the Baron, and that should be Bethany slamming the door on Purdue. We'll get to watch this fight again. We saw the TP flank coming out from Camille, and as soon as you turn off the lights, Arch is in such a dangerous position. He's like, okay, I know Kai'Sa's on me. I just saw the Camille, and now even you look at where this Malphite is. He's in the middle of 5. He doesn't know where he can use the ultimate. Short changes it, lands it onto 2. but there is no one able to find any kind of kills. Even with a 2-man sleep from Clam, it's not enough. Bethany taking a huge lead in this game, shooting up to 11,000, and they're looking really poised to take this game 3.
Baron, Dragon Soul, and as I mentioned, that Emperor's Divide from Crip is a good try. But when you've got Galaxy, who has a W and is just able to drift over the wall, come attack the rest of your team, makes it very easy. So again, honestly, I just got to point out Galaxy and Wizardish from game number 1, every single game, all 30 plus minutes of each individual game, have had such exceptional focus and such good positioning that it cannot be overlooked. These players know exactly who to target when, how successful they will be in these fights, and just how much damage they were able to actually deal out before that member goes down.
Yeah, and a lot of this, again, comes down to Purdue in their bot lane, falling behind early, not able to move with Clam in the bot side and try to set up vision. And also with Kerp going down so early before that Drake, again, these small mistakes are coming to haunt Purdue as they, the Roosters come to the rest. As Bethany, they're continuing to push across the map. They're going to have 3 different waves now starting to crash, and Purdue not able to answer some of these longer lanes. You see that top side, no one's quite there, but that wave is going to slowly meet onto the turret. Even bot lane, Wizardish. I love when teams use Kai'Sa's range to really start to affect the map. When you have that ultimate available, you can just sit in fog inside the jungle, and boom, you come in and you can make it an uneven fight automatically. So love this. They're finally playing that 1-3-1. They're doing what this is what they're doing from game 2. Finally, Bethany, we woke up.
And it wasn't even the 1-3-1, it was really just minions down to the bottom. We saw during that initial fight, Shelly came out down bottom while they were fighting around the Baron side. That was a few minutes ago, but it meant that second tower on the bottom was only a few hits away, and they kept just letting the minions push out. They didn't intend to go for that final hit. We saw Galaxy recall at one point, and there it is. Valley is going to jump in. That is 1,000 gold that you get to pick up from Galaxy going down, who will now be facing a gray screen for 47 more seconds, but the rest of the team is still looking to collapse here, deal at least a little bit of damage, and maybe break into the base. They're just going to call that one a loss, clear back out, get some of the enemy jungle, and then re-engage in the mid.
Awesome. So Purdue just bought themselves with that a massive amount of gold that just went over to Purdue. They just bought themselves a little bit of a leash back into this game. They said, okay, it does go over to Malphite, which is maybe not the perfect person, but gold is gold, and it doesn't matter because it is a tank champion and it is literally just Malphite. So gonna be taking that gold, gonna run away with it a little bit, but still pressed to do much, and it is still 11,000. So you see right now they are trying to get as much gold onto Arch, try to get as much into Kerp, but it is still a mountain of a task.
Galaxy has respawn now, so they've at least got that strong member, but that is the first death. And still, I love it when you get like a huge bounty go over, and then, Galaxy still has a 450 gold bounty on his head. That's how well he's been doing this game, and sitting really pretty with items too. So Bethany Lutheran clearing out the jungle. There's not much that Purdue can do here. I mean, they're getting broken into on all sides, and that means that Bethany Lutheran are just able to keep the pressure up. We can see that Camille has been in here on the top side, maintaining that minion pressure. The bottom side is really the only thing they were able to push out heavily to try to get some sort of response to, but they're going to need to group now at this point.
Yeah, Jolly, they could find this onto Solora if they want. Has no flash. We'll just hook shot out, but we have 2 minutes until Elder Drake, and that pick onto Galaxies bought them a lot more time than I think Bethany would be comfortable with. It is still 12,000. There's a massive item leads across different champions, basically across the board for Bethany. But if you look at this, we're playing to an Elder Drake win condition. And that right there, if Purdue are able to get that, is so strong. It can definitely flip the game on its head. And they still have the tools to do it. Valley is going to hit level 16. We'll have a really awesome ultimate. And it is on Bethany to play these steps correctly. They'll now start to reclaim vision on the side of Purdue. And a minute before this Elder Drake, Jolly, this is getting really scary for Bethany. You do not want to coin flip an Elder Drake's.
We certainly don't. They should have the advantage on this one, and especially with this mid lane tower still up for them. It's only 2 towers down for Purdue. They're going to try to get as much pressure here in the mid as possible and take down this tower. No, they're not even going to go for the tower take.
TP's coming in behind them. They're going for it.
They are. They're going to go for it. Galaxy as well as Solura, and they're now chasing down the entire team. Hollywood and Wizardish on the backside. They have split Flawed Logic away. Valiant Flawed Logic on the bottom side. That red buff reset, and there it is. Hollywood goes in. The Paranoia comes out. Ooh, it is not going to be utilized, though. Hunter decides to stay far back. A little too much CC and not enough engage from the rest of the team on that fight.
Yeah, and that is a huge cooldown. Not only is the Magnet Storm, but without Ultimate, it is obviously with Cloud Soul, and you have double Cloud Drake, so it should come back relatively fast. You just see that thing is ticking down, already almost halfway up. That is a really good tool if they want to be able to stop them from finding the Elder Drake. Now, Galaxy's probably going to use the package here to try and stop any kind of entrance, but there's a ton of wards here still littered as Galaxy goes in with the package. That's Sleep landing.
Ooh. Sleep will land. That is an exhaust as well. Flawed Logic ends up going down, and the rest of the team tries to engage. No, just Solura, who does get hit there.
That's Elder Drake, though.
Enough, that's Elder Dragon. I mean, they split off entirely just to get Galaxy, who was more than okay with sacrificing himself. He did use the package, as you said, managed to at least get one before going down, but that's Elder Drake, and if that's what your win condition was, then that means Bethany Lutheran shouldn't have any problems here.
They're
gonna go back to Baron.
Yeah, okay.
They're actually all right. So there's a pin as well coming out from Purdue. They're not going to use that pressure. Flawed Logic was the only member that went down, so they're instead going to turn and get the Baron. I mean, they are looking for every possible win condition here. It's going to be a quick Baron take, and Purdue honestly can't do anything about this. But every member except for Galaxy now has this buff, and it did give them the opportunity to allow Galaxy to respawn and get into these fights.
Exactly. For the next 2 minutes, Bethany are incredibly strong on the map. They have the Baron, like you said. They still have a little bit of low range. They need to try and fight this. And if they dive under Nexus turrets, it does give Purdue some kind of access. If one member of Purdue is out of position, then sure, they can go for the engage. They can try and find someone, especially with Nocturne and how dangerous he is. He has the Sterix and the Stride Breaker. So very, very, just has a ton of survivability in some of these fights. But Bethany, they want to just take it slow. They have a 15,000 gold lead right now. They're saying, look, we have Elder Drake. We also have the Baron. Let's just collect this. Let's just try and take this as, unevenly for us as possible. As they're going to push on the bot side. Hunter is there, and they're pushing into mid lane. Purdue are taking a ton of damage right now.
You're also looking at a level 14 Lucian. That's the same level as Hollywood at this point in the game. Solution's going to have to stay very safe. They're looking for another in. They're going to allow these Baron-empowered minions to deal as much damage as possible here to this inhibitor. They're just going to try to push in every single lane here. They're not even looking for a fight, really. They're not even trying to poke down a lot of damage. They're strictly going for the objectives here of these towers and of these inhibitors.
No more coin flippers is what Colomer says in the background. He is sitting in the coaching table and saying, guys, if you coin flip this, I'm going to lose my mind. So Bethany, they're playing it slow. They're just waiting. Some of their waves are a little bit desynced. Their top and bot waves are fine for right now. The mid lane, not quite. If someone wants to walk back and maybe grab it, I'd give them some extra brownie points. But they're pushing into the base right now. The Baron and Elder are starting to tick down. They're almost up. So need to be, if they're not willing to pull the trigger, this could be it for Purdue. They try to find this.
There's this sleep, but the Paranoia comes out in response on the backside. Clam goes down first. Emperor's Demise shows the rest of the team away. The Hextech Ultimatum onto Arch, though, to take down this member. Solura is taking a lot of damage. Valley uses the ultimate to engage on these three front members.
Oh my god, Kerp!
End up going down. Kerp does so much damage here. Hunter just trying to empower these minions. This is the end of the game if they can make it, but Kerp is doing so much damage. Galaxy goes down here. Kerp uses that to Zonias to stay alive. Valley working on taking down these remaining two members.
Oh my god.
Forward to get Hunter, and now Hollywood is the last remaining member, but there are super minions on the Nexus towers. That's one tower down. Valley, the only member up, but Clam will be up in 5 seconds, so Hollywood just trying to support these minions, and Valley is taking so much damage now from them. Will the rest of the team spawn in time for them to do something about this? More super minions crashing in from every single wave, but Purdue have lasted, and they have pushed this out to another fight.
Oh my god, guys, Bethany, this is what I was talking about. they didn't call their shot when they have the Elder Drake, so they're like, okay, we can't really go for this. And now you see this Purdue able to make the masterful defense. Nobody's able to kill Kerp. They keep trying to kill Arch, but Lucian is already, not the amazing team fighter, someone like this Azir. So he will respawn. They will get another chance in this game, but with an open Nexus turret, and especially with someone like Camille and with this Corki, any just raw ward that is out is basically a kill threat and a win condition here for Bethany. So you see Purdue, they're clearing out their vision, they're trying to stop this. Even something as close as even the Raptor Pit is a potential win condition. You have Hunter, who if he ults down and he puts down a ward, you just TP in and you can't stop them. So Purdue are trying hard, but Bethany looking to try and make the death march in.
I mean, the more time you give Purdue, the more successful they're going to find themselves, catching up in levels, getting some goals in response here. It is going to be a disconnect. It's Purdue playing, trying to play reactively here. He does. There's going to be a paranoia on the backside. The package comes through. Galaxy just goes in for the kill. Arch going down. Valley taking a lot of damage. Galaxy focusing on just getting this Nexus down. Flawed Logic will be the next target, and Clam the final one to go down. That will finally be the game. 36 and a half minutes. Bethany Lutheran, every dragon, 11 towers, and every Baron possible. They finally secure that game. And my goodness, were we not expecting 35-minute games, but also to go to a game 3 in general and to have Purdue, this team can play from behind all day, every day. Bethany Lutheran finally made it work. But man, I feel like that game should have ended 10 minutes ago.
They had everything, right? We said it.
Literally
they had
everything.
They had the Cloud Soul. They had they had the Elder Drake. They had 2 Barons now. I mean, that was basically every single tool, but they knew that this game could definitely be thrown, and we saw it there that if they don't execute perfectly, Purdue can fight back. And we saw them right there. They just barely eke out the team fight win. All of those members able to respawn thanks to some of the GAs and being able to break up the fight. They finally kind of find their footing in that last bit for Bethany. But Purdue putting up a pretty amazing fight. And Bethany, they're like, okay, we need everything and the kitchen sink to try and win this one.
I know. And I mean, that's considering too the lack of really heavy engage that Purdue had. The only engage they really had was that Malphite. Aside from that, they were able to stave off this Bethany Lutheran team so many times, and it was really good focus as well. Again, Purdue playing so exceptionally well from behind that even when the advantage was 12 plus K in Bethany Lutheran's favors, they still didn't feel comfortable enough to collapse on the base and still decided to clear out the enemy jungle, go for another Baron, secure that Elder Drake, and that just shows you how Purdue, considering this is a team or a college without an actual esports program, hopefully, you know what, show your school this, because going into Bethany Lutheran, 6-0 again in their conference. They went 6-0 in their conference. Purdue deserves an actual collegiate setup. They absolutely deserve to be funded by their school because this was an exceptional show match.
Hopefully, if if they make that good run going into nationals, maybe there's another reason. You get a really good boost. Hey, we placed potentially top 16 or top 8 over in nationals against some of the better teams. I think that would be a really hard ask for the program to say, hey, maybe we should take a look at this. Already got the website up, might as well put some money into that. We'll see. We'll end up seeing, but Purdue do end up going down. It is a 2-1 for Bethany, and like we've been saying, it was a super hard fought series for them. I think that was about as close as we could ask for.
I want to bring Pickle in on this. I want to bring OG Pickle in because we always get the perspective of he's not super into League of Legends, or that's not one of the primary ones. And so to get his insight on these kinds of games, especially one where he ended up favoring Purdue when we were calling 2-0s, it worked out incredibly well. Are we gonna bring in Pickle here?
Come on, Pickle.
Right.
Hey,
there he is.
There's the guy. That was a long match. That was a long match, Chad, huh?
Yeah,
but still fun. That was very fun. I love the perspective. Jolly, you're right. I had listened to both teams at the beginning, and I just felt like when I talked to the interviews that I thought we were going to see something special. I didn't want to count out Purdue right away just because they had the least to lose. They were coming in, and basically what got cut out of the interview was he said, look, we're going to either go 0-2 or we're going to go like 2-0. So I just split the difference. I was like, you know what? These guys are going to do something fun, and I think they're going to put on a show. And in talking to Bethany, they just kind of said, we got to have fun. So I knew they weren't going to try to put the dagger, but I'm not trying to show something like I knew something else, but that everyone didn't. But I think we saw a great match. I mean, they were long. They certainly were long. There's some battles that Bethany could have capitalized that they let go. And even in that game, too, you saw they kind of put it up to chance, and kudos for Purdue for taking advantage, but this should have gone 2-0, I think. But regardless, a great matchup, and what we saw was very impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So much more than we were anticipating from Purdue. And I'm sure that they are very happy with how they played again. And show them this VOD. You know, you guys should absolutely have a program there. These are some exceptional players. And considering you don't even have the funding and the backing that other schools do, I feel like Purdue can go incredibly far given that school funding.
It's just a Dreher gap every time. It's a Dreher gap. I'm sorry. This guy has been such a long-standing member at Purdue. Give this man something. He's done a fantastic job with his program every time. So I'm looking forward to see what Purdue does in the future. And same thing with Bethany. Hopefully they make the bid there for the committee.
For sure.
All right, let's take a quick break. We want to come back and do a brief interview with Wizardish, but we'll get him all set. So let's go take a quick little break. We'll be right back. We'll bring in Wizardish to send him out, ask him some questions, and come back together. So we'll see you here in just a minute. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the eFuse Showmatch, a long one nonetheless, but we had a lot of fun. We're joined by Wizardish. He's from Bethany to talk about the match. Wizardish, how you feeling after the match? I heard the director's getting you McDonald's, so I've got a few questions about that. But let's start with the match. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Just played some League of Legends.
You look so chill right now. Okay. All right, Wizardish. Good. I'm glad. Everything's good. Good. All right, well, let me ask you a little more pep in the step then. McDonald's is coming your way. Director said, hey, I'm going to buy that for you. What's your go-to McDonald's meal?
Oh, great question. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
I got a 20-piece large nugget with a large fry, and that's it.
Let's go, King. Okay,
Yep,
he knows. He's man of flavor. Okay.
He knows that. He knows that, and I really appreciate that you guys are going all out. Oh, good question.
Sauce, kind of depends, but honey mustard's always safe, and of course barbecue, the classic.
Those are top four sauces. Those go on your Mount Rushmore of sauces, and I respect the answer. But I'll toss it over to my
special sauce.
R.I.P. But I will toss it over to my friend Alec Battery to jump into more serious questions. Now that I know your McDonald's order, I think we all feel good about that.
Great.
Wizardish, I wanted to ask, coming into this, we were all expecting Bethany 2-0. What happened in that game too? We were like, okay, this is looking good, but wanted to get your perspective on that game too.
Yeah, we just felt that it was like too easy, and we wanted to go to a game 3. You saw
Okay.
we were up in gold, obviously. Like that game was basically done for. But we were having a little bit of fun, and unfortunately they just outscaled us. So it happens, but you just bounce back game 3, and yeah.
All right, I gotta ask.
14,000 gold. You just do it free.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
I gotta ask, who do you play when the Kaisa gets banned?
I don't know. We have this strategy. We have like a wheel, and we kind of just spin it. So I don't know. It might be like Ezreal. It might be Samir. I don't know. It might be like first time Kog'Maw or something. I don't really know. It's just kind of like whatever Collimer's feeling.
But that's certainly your staple, obviously. I mean, you played the Kaisa 3 games in a row and did so well. Especially, I got to point out your Killer Instinct repositioning was incredible to stop the Blade Caller from locking you in that game number 2. Really just all over the place. So that is that your favorite champion, and is that why?
I don't really have a favorite champion. I mean, she's just good, right? She's not very hard to play. She just, I don't know. It's simple, straightforward. I will say though, I don't know if you noticed, it was the second to last team fight. I kind of just like ran in and died. I thought that like passive stacks on Kaisa, I thought like they were generated if my teammates auto.
No, they are. It is just CC, buddy.
It's just CC, yeah. So I didn't know that, and but it didn't matter because it was just over anyway.
Wow, not even knowing that and still playing it really, really well. I'll let you go.
Man, the only like joke question I got here is just like, what happened to double penta in game 1? Who are you like angry at Freeze from taking that from you, or are you just like, it is what it is? We take those. It was a penta and then a quadra.
Oh, I got okay. I didn't know I got a quadra. I thought it was a triple kill, but no. I don't care. Honestly, Freeze, yeah, he was trying to take my penta the first time. Like he was trying really hard, but he didn't manage to get it. So no hard feelings.
Who's the primary shot caller? Do you guys have a primary shot caller on the team?
Yeah, it's Hunter.
Okay, it is Hunter. All right, so being able to navigate through that jungle, and now coming up, you guys are looking to make your way into some conferences and things like that. Is there anything in like any conferences in particular that you guys are hoping to make your way into, or any teams in particular that you hope to go up against here soon?
Probably want a rematch versus Illinois, right? That would make sense. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. We kind of just show up and play games. So
it's so chill.
Lucas, Lucas puts the custom game. He puts the tournament code in for you, and he's just like, play, and you're like, yes, sir. And then you clock out. You punch. Clock in, clock out. It's simple.
Ryan, you're so funny, bro. You're like League of Legends. People play it. Boom. Yeah. That's all you need to know.
I mean, pretty much. Like Fricky will come to us. He's like, "Hey guys, you want to play in this tournament?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, sounds good." And we show up and we just play, have a good time.
This is a Collimer team for real.
Well, we certainly enjoyed watching you play tonight. Congratulations.
Can I give a few shout-outs?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, shout out. Hey, this camera. Yeah, tell the people what you're thinking.
Hey, shout out to the whole team. I think everyone played well. We were all having fun, and I love playing with the boys. It's a fun experience. Shout out to Mordhau.com. All my homies over at Mordhau.com.
Oh,
love my boys over there. Shout out Mordhau, NAPC represent. That's my squad, and that's it. And thanks for having this match. Appreciate it.
Spell out Mordhau for people though.
Mordhau.com.
There you go. Now you guys can control T right now.
It's PvP. That game is intense. I'm not good enough because I have small gamer hands, but I can see Wizard is definitely going for it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the time. He'd probably say I'm barely here, but still working. You love to see it from Ryan. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us, and we'll see you again soon. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you. And that was Wizardish. A special thanks for him for stopping by. That was awesome. That was awesome to see him. A special thanks for Wizardish for stopping by, and Coach Fricky from Bethany Esports College, and Flawed Logic from Purdue University. That was a great match. We got to see a lot of things come through. We got to see a game 3. It was awesome. And we look forward to seeing how these two teams do in the coming season. Before we head out here, Alk, you got anything to end us with?
Purdue will win Worlds. Save NA. That's all I got.
Whoa!
Ooh, save NA. I love it. And I'm assuming it's my turn, so I'll
ahead, John.
Obviously I gotta thank everybody. Thank you guys for bringing me on another eFuse show match. This is honestly, this has become the highlight for me every other week. And thank you guys thank you as well to everybody who watched, everyone who always plays. But you know, those of you calling us out for hype, bring it on every time. I appreciate
brought you the hype.
Right? We brought you the hype. We'll keep it coming. And if for anyone, it's going to be for Pickle. But hopefully next game we're gonna see some fisticuffs. Don't worry, Pickle.
I can't shut it off. I mean, chat comes at me and I gotta deliver it right back, and that's just how it goes. But that does it for our show. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you, Jolly. Thanks all for a great cast tonight. You guys killed it. I mean, it went over how many hours? We had 3 hours and 41 minutes total. So from pregame show to now, you just put in like a 4-hour session. You guys didn't lose any of the energy. I mean, we said the key word at the beginning was hype. And we held that all the way through. So I love seeing that. Good job to you both for a great show, keeping everyone entertained, giving a good cast and things that are going on. Thank you to the collegiate community for supporting these events as we continue to spotlight players in this scene. Thank you to eFuse for making this all possible and coming together, setting up all the teams and all the people behind the scenes, especially in production. They don't give enough thanks, so we wanted to send it their way. But with that, I'm OG Pickle. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next Tuesday for another eFuse Collegiate show match. It's been fun. It's been real. We'll see you guys again soon. Bye, guys.